Nah, but KTG ain't getting no grand intro.
Oh no, hell no. Hell no. She's like one of the boys now, so she don't get shit.
She really is. Oh, look at that, right?
Speak of the devil.
Oh, she had to get her. Oh God, look at you.
She had to get her hair did.
She had to get all nice, presentable for two slubs in their pajamas.
Do we have to let her in, or can she let herself in? Oh, we have to let her in. Oh, there she is.
She has to say it. She has to say it like Bray Wyatt before she's allowed to get in.
Let me in. What up, fellas?
I believe that.
I'm gonna be in my pajamas later because I'm doing the Fightful New Japan watch along. I'm gonna be a zombie.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Look at her already stealing. Look at her already stealing my gimmick, name dropping.
I'm very important and popular.
That's true.
I'm so excited. Alba's on today. I know him well, so this will be good.
You know his sister? Jessica?
No. Oh, stolen forever, though.
Fucking
whenever he sets up a question that you think is really serious, just always know that it's never serious.
Oh, I knew it wasn't serious. I was just trying to figure out what the pun was, where I was missing it.
That's good. I wasn't quite there yet either. Actually, that's a good point.
Man.
I was thinking like from Alba cheese. Like,
oh, it sounds so gross.
Kevin, you're not in your basement.
Yeah, one night only. From yeah, they let me out. So
they let you out.
Yeah, I got some bread, got some water.
That's so good. I'm glad they let you off the chains there.
That's it. And now this podcast is gonna be off the chains.
Hey!
Well, you guys ready to start the party before our guest joins us in a little while? We'll get this show kicking right.
40 minutes. Oh no, half hour. Yeah. All right, I'm ready. No, half hour.
I don't know. What do we got to talk tonight? We got day one coverage. We got Wrestle Kingdom coverage. We got Kate the Great joining us on third mic. We got John Alba joining us in a few to talk about his newest endeavor with the man who's stronger than death himself, Mr. Matt Hardy. And I don't know. What else is there to talk about? It's all wrestling, right? Right?
It's all wrestling. You can get into the Tony Khan shit if you want to, but
I guess. Oh gosh. Matt,
if you want to, I would love a day off from it.
Well, then maybe Kevin and I could talk about it. And let me see.
Well, wait, first you're gonna have to let me know what it was.
Oh, well, then we'll figure it out once we get into it. But in the meantime, it is time for the intro. You're listening to episode 566, I hope, of the Shining Wizards. Kicking off the new year right. And yeah, stay tuned. Something like that, I guess. The following is a presentation of the Shining Wizards Network, broadcasting live on rantiumradio.com and available on all podcast platforms and at shiningwizards.com. Follow us on social media at Wizards Podcast. Check out our merchandise at merch.shiningwizards.com. Do your Amazon shopping at amazon.shiningwizards.com and become a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/wizardspodcast. As always, we thank you for your continued support. And now, enjoy the show.
This is the man who is stronger than death, Matt Hardy, and you are listening to the Shining Wizards Wrestling Podcast.
What's up, fuckers?
I love the big package.
And he's got those smelly balls.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Fucking loser.
Fuck the Shining Wizards.
Once again, it's time to join your favorite cast of characters on the Shining Wizards Wrestling Podcast. Unfortunately, we are not live on the rant tonight, but go visit those guys anyway. The replay will be up later, rantiumradio.com, because I'm an idiot and I cannot figure out technology. So I am playing the role of Matt tonight. We got tons of good stuff to get into because we are live on the Facebook. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Twitch. We are live on Twitter. And, of course, we're in podcast form, so you could take us wherever you go. We are the Shining Wizards Wrestling Podcast, where it's wrestling talk.
And talk. Talk about wrestling.
Tony.
Kate.
K. Oh, okay. All right. Wasn't sure how we were going to do that. We didn't talk about that. We didn't talk about that before. That's probably something we should have brought up at the pre-show meeting.
We didn't talk about anything before we got.
KJG. Happy New Year, fuckers.
Happy New Year. I figured I'm filling in for Matt. I should go in Matt's spot.
Oh, that's fine.
I'll forget how to speak English and call everybody goons the whole episode. Come on, you goons.
Bunch of heathens.
It's weird. It was New Year's 2 days ago. It feels like so long ago already. Is it just me?
It feels like May 2nd right now.
It really does. Like it's like we're so far into the future, but my God. How was your New Year's? Is
Very chill. Very chill. Just, I would say, I think it was 5 years ago. I had a New Year's party that was like a bust for several reasons. Like half the people didn't show up and then half the people got too drunk. And I was like, I'm never going to try around New Year's again. And I have not regretted it since. It's just been like appetizers, like usually pigs in a blanket and pizza or sushi and sweatpants and chilling out at home, which is exactly what happened this year. And I will take it. So it was delightful. Plus, like, I know Omicron's not like killing people, but I'm not out there trying to get it since I got like the OG and the Delta. I'm not like, I don't need to go for like the tic-tac-toe of it. You know what I mean? So I am good at home, boosted now, living my life.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you got pretty beat up from the booster. I missed you on the Wednesday night show. And apparently Matt missed a chunk of it too, because he had I guess his cats thought they were having the All Valley Karate tournament during the show.
Sorry, guys. My New Year's was fine, guys. Don't worry about me.
I'm following up with Kate. Relax, dude. I'm getting into it.
No, don't worry about it. No, yeah. You rounded up with Kate with a segue into Matt's cat's assholes. That's how you rounded up with Kate?
Who said assholes?
About their assholes. It was one of their cats thinks they're Nick Gage and took a piece cutter to the other one.
Whenever I hear Matt's cats, my initial reaction is Nellie's butt.
That is like 72% of the cat talk on the show. Right, so it makes sense.
Yeah, this was an extenuating circumstance. So yeah, shout out to Matt's cats, and hope Nick Gage is held responsible for the actions that you perpetrated.
Matt's cats sounds like his jazz quartet. Matt's cats at the lounge this weekend.
Keep it up,
Kevin, sweetheart, darling, how was your New Year? Let's not leave you out of the conversation.
Oh. It's all right. Just the host of the show. It's all right. No problem.
Wow. Kevin's coming in hot.
Kevin was you. I just wanted to know how his New Year's was, and now he's
I'm not telling you. You know what? I'm not telling you.
Good.
Wow.
Yeah, it was literally this minus you two.
You logged in to do a show by yourself?
I did. I tested StreamYard until the ball dropped, and I was just like, all right, I've had enough. People on CNN are ripping a whole lot of politicians. Let's just go watch that instead.
It was quiet here too. My niece and nephew came over earlier in the day, but everybody had left by like 6, so it was just me, the wife, and the kid. I will tell you this. Huge fan of Blondie. I love Debbie Harry to death. Heart of Glass is an awesome song. Miley Cyrus had no business trying to sing that shit. That's the only thing that annoyed me on New Year's Eve.
Which is actually
weird
surprising
because Miley Cyrus usually covers stuff amazingly.
No.
Like her Jolene cover. Those environments are weird too, because you can never hear yourself, and it's like a very like shitty setup from the artist perspective. But Miley is like, her cover of Zombie and her cover of Jolene are like rival the original good. But yeah, we missed on
she's not she's not the same like Miley Cyrus that like people knew God knows how long ago. She's like a legit art. Not that she ever wasn't, but like she does her own stuff and everyone else's stuff so like masterfully. So I'm surprised to hear this take. I have to watch it.
Well, fair enough. I mean, the songs Kate brings up, they're perfect songs for her voice. The Heart of Glass, not so much.
Don't work.
It was no, not at all. Not at all.
Which one is that again?
So not love, and it was a gas.
Oh, she does. I've heard her sing that. She's good at that.
Oh, it's terrible, dude.
I've heard her do that one.
It was terrible.
This
Terrible.
one wasn't great, and I think her sister was there too, right? I think.
Miley Cyrus.
Old Butthole Eyes was there too. Pete Davidson. I think they were hosting together.
Eyes.
He does. He has assholes for eyes. You never noticed that? He's got some sort of condition.
I don't think I couldn't. I've seen a lot of cat buttholes, so you think I would have known because I do a show with Matt, but I did not notice that he has buttholes for eyes, really.
Oh yeah, and if you Google Pete Davidson butthole eyes, like you'll find like tons of comparisons.
I am going to not do that.
There was a great meme circulating about how Pete Davidson on New Year's is what Beetlejuice would look like if he was alive.
Yes, I saw that.
It was
hilarious.
hysterical. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
And I like Pete Davidson, so I'm not like hating on him. It's so. He's like they were the perfect two people to host a New Year's Eve show together.
I heard they were really good. I had watched like the Seacrest, Dick Clark, terrible, whatever jobber of a host that they got to sit in with Ryan Seacrest. She was terrible.
And here's the thing about that, Kate, is because I watched a lot of that too, only because it's like that's the go-to. That's what you go
Dick
to.
Clark one.
That's what you go to when you grew up and like when your parents would let you stay up to midnight. Like that's what was always on. And now it's just like it's developed. I think they're trying to reach a much younger demographic than maybe some of the other places. I didn't watch a whole lot of NBCs, so I don't know. But yeah, it was not fun. Not good.
I think it might have been also tougher this year because they tried to bring it back, but then New York City scaled everything back again. I don't think a lot of the artists were available, like current artists. Like I was looking, it was like Macklemore and Ryan Lewis were out. I was like, where the fuck did they dig up Macklemore from? You know what I'm saying? It was a weird conglomeration of guests across all the shows.
I actually saw that performance and I didn't hate it at all, actually.
I'm sure it was fine, but it was just a weird pull, you know what I'm saying?
And this isn't a dig on the talent by any
not
stretch
at
of the imagination. It
was just weird. Yeah. I think Macklemore on New Year's is like Mariah Carey for December. That's what I've decided. Like this is the moment. Like that is the Mariah Carey. All I Want for Christmas Is You is they like just once a month or once a year rather. They're like, we're gonna go get that guy. Is
Macklemore a New Year's Eve tradition? I didn't know that.
I feel like that song always resurfaces around the New Year because it's like the beat and kind of like fresh starting and everybody loves it. But I don't know. It was funny. I was like, oh shit, Macklemore, yeah.
It wasn't like I'm gonna pop some tags.
See, that's what I would have been hoping for, you know.
I'm gonna this is fucking awesome.
The song slaps.
$20 for a t-shirt.
People don't realize, like, he was one of the first to do it without a label, and that music video, like, fucking changed the industry a little bit. But this isn't a boring music industry podcast. This is a wrestling podcast, fellas.
We're all over the place.
Like R. Kelly Sheets.
He's still in jail, isn't he?
I hope so. I feel like he just got there. He better be. Lock him up for life.
I had a terrible joke a long time ago. It was like,
oh no,
like it was about a joke. It was about a joke that I told that didn't go over well, and then I'm like, come on, guys, like R. Kelly shower, like R. Kelly showers. That joke was golden. Like,
oh, Kevin,
that was. I grew up since then, Kate. I grew up.
Well, we found out more about R. Kelly since then. I think is the bigger thing.
Yeah. Not a good guy. Not a good guy at all.
Not great. Not great.
Let me ask a hypothetical question. If you had a deal with the New Year's Rockin' Eve and they were going to show you propose to your fiance right after the ball drop, and your fiance said yes, would you celebrate by kissing with your masks on? Did you guys notice this?
Weird.
Did you see? You didn't. I take it you didn't see this. Well, first of all, the camera cut away while the guy was proposing, which was fucking. I don't know why you would cut away from that.
Dude,
but
the money's in the finish, Tony. The money's in the finish.
Impact's production crew was doing this.
Pretty much. But then they get up and they didn't lift up their masks or anything. They just like went mask to mask. I was, what? Really? You're gonna marry this woman. You can't kiss her now. Like,
And they're gonna bone later. Come on, let's
course.
get real.
They might have boned right there. Who knows? You
They
know, it's
probably
fucking
did.
New York City.
I'm going out on a limb that
Uh-oh.
they got to do that, and it was put on TV, but they had to have the optic of, hey, we're all wearing masks. Look at these people making out. Meanwhile, everyone else in the entire city, no mask. But for this moment, this is the one that people are going to care about. Guys, if you're going to do this, we'll let you do this.
But you have
Keep
to
your masks
kiss
on.
with your mask.
This is
on?
the moment.
T-shirt costs $20. Hopefully you know what you're getting. I have
This
no
is fucking
money.
awesome.
This is fucking awesome. I do not understand. So I guess they had like pods, which
They always do. They've had that since like September 11th. They've been putting people in pods.
like
and
in pod.
whatnot.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Pods
This
of
is
what,
very-
like 20,000?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, all right.
Pretty much.
Just makes no sense to me. At
Asian Joe's got a great line on New Year's Eve: pizza rolls, chips, candy, and Royal Rumble '92 is all one needs. I love the callback.
all. Asian Joe fucking rules.
Yeah.
Asian Joe's the
Asian
man.
Joe knows what he's talking about.
He's the best. I was thinking about like people in our community from this year specifically, because we've got a lot of OGs from your 10 years of podcasting, fellas. Asian Joe is such like a standout of this year of people that just fucking rule.
Imagine we did that, Tony. Imagine we did like the Fan of the Year award every year.
Oh God, I think the last the last Fan of the Year award we gave to was Louis Ramos, wasn't it?
Oh my God.
You know
we
what
did
I
do
have to
this.
say about Asian Joe? Because Kevin
What's
hates
that?
it when you steal gimmicks.
Uh
five.
oh. Oh
All right. Kate, if this is gonna keep happening, we just can't have you back. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Kate, I don't
I'm taking
understand
it
why.
to Fight Club.
See, I don't understand why you think it's okay to steal Kevin's gimmicks. You know what I'm saying? Not that Kevin stole that from a wrestler or anything. You know,
No. RVD stole it from him, I heard.
That's right.
it's probably true.
When we saw him at Legends of the Ring that one time.
He's
That
like,
was
"Yo,
it.
can I get that?" Kevin's like, "No," and he's like, "I'm taking
Here-
it anyway."
Here's the thing, though. It was like 2006 or 2000, whatever the heck it was. I don't even remember. But whenever it was, like he just didn't remember that he actually already did that. So he thought that I gave it to him.
Kevin
Was
brought
it like
back.
like when somebody is like, you can use my finisher? You were like, you can use my
Yeah.
3-letter.
That's funny. I actually had a top 5 going about this particular topic, but I just couldn't close it out the way I wanted to. It was literally about using people currently on the roster using other people's finishers and keeping it the same name as they used it.
Ooh,
Ooh.
that's a
So-
good one.
It's a good one, but I can have 5 after the break, but it just might be a little twangy, if you will. Unless I can just give you what I had and we can talk about it.
Kevin's two things would be thought about it or, "Oh, that's a good one."
All right, Tony.
I'm trying to think of what's in play that's still called.
All right,
Look,
so
man,
I can think of
I
two.
I love
my
the top
initial
5.
initial thing was I wanted to do it with people that are still active, but then the number 1 would be off the list. So I think I could actually do it. So you know what? Let's put a pin in this, and I'll come back with the top 5 in hour number 2 after we
I
talk
like
to our
it.
guest John Alba, who will be joining us at 7:30 timestamp, talking about his new podcast with the one and only Matt Hardy, who was so kind enough to give us a liner. Tony, that was a great liner. You will not die.
Yeah, we've had that in the bank
Fucking
of liners
Alba.
for a while.
Fucking Alba.
All right, Kate, is this gonna be a podcast of just you and him like reading your live tweets about each other?
No,
Oh,
we'll probably
that'd be
talk about the
sweet.
wave for a good 40 minutes, though. He's so anti the wave. And the best part is, I'm not even pro the wave. I just like pissing off people.
Well,
So,
Kate, I'll tell you this. One time I went to a really boring surfing competition, so I had to start the wave.
Kevin, even you're
What?
better than that.
Nope, that's an old one that I just pulled.
Nope.
That's
No,
like
I'm
a
not.
that's a Facebook status circa like 2017.
Oh, man.
Kev, when was the blindfold match? That was WrestleMania 6 or 7
Which
with
one?
Jake
Which
and
blindfold match?
with Jake and
7.
Okay, they started the wave during that match. I thought it was
but-
highly disrespectful
Yeah, but no, one
because
could
I
see it.
love that match. That's like a low key like favorite of mine. Love
So
that match.
the meeting ground comes in on that there's a time to not do the wave and there's a time to do the wave, right? So that's where I agree with Alba. But like, I don't know. I'm the biggest baseball fan in the world, and some games get really fucking boring.
Okay, so just so we all know, and we could talk to Alba about this, but just so I'm in the loop, I do remember something about this on the social media. But what was his stance on the wave, and then what was yours?
Staunchly anti-wave.
But for
Alba is.
what purpose? Was it disrespectful to the game? That whole thing?
I mean, he just really hates everything about the wave. We can get into it when he's on here, as I'm sure it's the most pressing thing that we'll have to talk about. But most of it, and actually, Matt, who I'm filling in for, it's good because I can introduce the counterpoint, has the same issue of like, it's disrespectful to the game, yes, but like that people do it at inappropriate times is like the biggest pet peeve. And that I actually fully agree with. Like, you can't be doing it during like great matches. You can't be doing it during like a 2-1 pitcher's duel when there's a runner on second. Like you gotta pick your spots for the wave. That I agree with. A wave in between innings, who gives a fuck? Like
who determines who's better than the fans to determine when it's appropriate to do the wave? They're there.
Yeah, but people are idiots.
All right.
No, but
I guess that kills any argument you could have.
That's true. But there are people who, I think, especially because I'm a baseball gal, like there's so many people that go to baseball that don't actually care about baseball.
That's true.
So it's like there's a lot of people that are like, I don't really care about baseball, but like some time in the sun and beer with my friends, and it's a $20 ticket or whatever. Like, so I think a lot of people start the wave ill-timed then.
Yeah, and I'll just to piggyback on that. I was gonna say that you're probably in the minority of people that actually go to watch the baseball, but I think that's disrespectful to baseball fans. I don't think that's 100% true. But when I go to baseball games, like I always try to gear myself up. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm not the biggest baseball fan in the world, but I'm gonna watch this game. Then like 3 or 4 innings in, I'm just like, all right.
Like I'm ready for
I'll watch. Yeah, like. But I'm smart enough to understand situations of the game, like where people are on the bases and like what an at bat means. Like I'm smart enough to get like what an at bat means to something when people are positional and where they are. But so I think it's probably split 50-50, maybe 60-40 baseball fans, 40%.
I would say on a day game too, you're bound to find more people that are casual about it because they're like, let's go hang out. A lot of people bringing kids or whatever. Yeah. So I feel like there's also a difference in that, but I'm not even that pro the wave. I just like to annoy John Alba about things.
Oh, well, we'll certainly bring that up.
Just like I do you.
That's right.
It's gotten me far, you guys.
So what were we talking about before we got to the wave? Oh, the top 5, which I told you guys to put a pin in. That's right.
Yep. I stuck the pin right there. So there it is.
Put the pin in that.
There is some love going on in the chat. Ryan saying that White Ryan loves Asian Joe, which that I just appreciate so much.
There you go.
Oh, beautiful.
It's a lovely thing. The chat's been pretty awesome. Everybody's been very funny and insightful and annoying at the same time. But we love them all.
Yeah, that's a cute way of saying Kate's annoying when she's in the chat.
That's not true. That's not true.
Well, when I am, it's very much on purpose. I think you know that by now.
Kevin, I will volley to you. Do you have anything we can cover in 8 minutes before our guest arrives?
It's a great question, man. No, I'm actually legit like pondering it just because, I mean, we have picks from New Japan. We could talk AEW. We could talk. I would like to know more about this Tony Khan situation that apparently was brewing that kind of flew under my radar.
We might need more than 8 minutes for that. I know Kate's had some tete-a-tetes with people on social media over that one, but
is this the Big Swole?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we can talk about in now like 6 minutes. AEW Rampage, the women's match was like busted hardcore match, which was pretty cool. So and also Hook continues to be really good, and Bowens is the shit.
Nah, let's stop with the Hook talk. Even though I don't hate Hook.
What?
Only because I really want to dive into that women's tag team match, which I rewatched
It was
today.
great. It was like
Um,
sloppy, but it was a street fight, so it was supposed to be kind of. But they got to stop using these New Japan tables that never break over in
Oh,
AEW.
the only sloppy thing I noticed, which isn't sloppy because it was very difficult to do, is when it was the moonsault onto the table from the outside.
Yeah.
oh
So,
yeah.
That's not necessarily sloppy. It's just difficult for someone, and I don't know who that was.
Penelope. Kate's
Penelope, yeah.
doppelganger.
It was
Kate.
Penelope. It was,
It was me.
Okay.
It was me. That's why I remember.
So
I mean, it's difficult, but it was sloppy. But it also was kind of like one of those accidental cool things, like happened with Becky, where like a botch made a really cool moment, like how Nia split open Becky's face. Like Tay Conti looked fucking awesome with like blood running down her face. And it was it's a street fight. Like,
Kate,
let's fucking go.
Was the table that did not break in that spot? That wasn't the same table with the pile driver, was it?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think it was
either.
a different one. I don't think.
I-
The pile driver one wasn't like that close to the apron. I don't think.
And if I'm not like crazy, because I literally watched this today. I was back at work for the first time, and I had a little time to watch. I'm pretty sure like it was like a black table that didn't break, and it was like a regular wooden table that was used for the pile driver. I thought it would have been cool if they if it didn't break, and you could still use it for something else. Maybe they did. I don't know, but Kate, I love this match. This match was like, I think this match was like the true definition of like what it was meant to be. Because this is like a real long running story for these four women.
Too long. Yeah. Like
maybe too long. But if you're not super familiar with them, like, but you still know that, like, I don't know why they all hate each other. I just know that they hate each other. So like, I know it deserved this kind of blow off. And I think the four of them have been. I think Taya and Anna Jay are tremendous together, and Penelope. Oh, but the bunny and Penelope. I don't think they connect as well as the other two. I think Anna Jay and Taya should be like bonded for life in some capacity.
Anna.
Whoa, deathmatch, Anna. Whoa.
It's not Anna. Did I say? Is it not Anna?
No, John Silver calls her Anna.
Anna.
No. Okay.
I agree with you, and that makes sense because they've, I think, just been working together longer, and I think both of them overall are just a little better in the ring. But, Bunny kind of like has grown on me. Her in-ring work, I think, has improved a lot. But she kind of reminds me of Carmella a little bit, where you're like, maybe you're not the best in the ring, but like you're serviceable enough, and like sometimes just hysterical. Like this Carmella run isn't my favorite, but like Carmella can be really fucking funny in the ring. Like her facial expressions and the way she's yelling, like Bunny does the same to me for that. Like she's really come a long way in her in-ring storytelling, I feel like, in that regard.
Yeah, and I think that I haven't seen enough of her wrestling in AEW. I mean, maybe I have, maybe I haven't. Who the fuck knows? But I watched her a lot in Impact, and I thought she was awesome in TNA and Impact, in the ring, out of the ring, character wise. The demonic bunny, her stuff with Rosemary was awesome. So I don't know if I'm shortchanging her, but all I know is that it takes a moment like this to finally like get people to like believe in you. Like even when they may or may not have should have like been believing in you the entire time.
Well, and to your point, like the vagueness of the feud didn't help, and like when it's this long and not that well justified, and they're making great strides in the women's division, so I don't want to harp on it too much because I am overwhelmingly negative. But like they went into Tay's solo feud with Britt and then just came back to this, you know what I mean? Like they've been so inconsistent with the story that to have a blow off that was like, all right, even though we didn't give you a really good explanation as to why, we've driven home that these people fucking hate each other, and they're now going to have a blow off like this. Like you're 100% on with that of like, okay, I don't even need to know why as much because it's just very clear that these people hate each other.
And I know we're going to be joined by our guest in just a couple of minutes, but just to tie a bow on this, I think it's also good because I think that plays into, you might hate this person and you might want to beat the crap out of this person, but you're still worthy of this title shot. Do you want this title shot? Yeah, of course I'll take this title shot. Like I'll always hate her. Like she'll like I'm never gonna not like. I mean, it's wrestling, so that could change tomorrow. But like,
but yeah, like it's I have a visceral hatred, much like John Alba has toward the Wave, and a visceral hatred toward each other.
Now he hasn't even joined us yet, and you're already talking shit. I
can't see. So when Kevin said he'll be joining us in a couple minutes, I thought that was like he's here.
He can hear us though, can he? He can hear us. Oh yeah, he can hear us. He knows what's going on.
Well, not only can he hear us, but he can actually chime in at this point. Oh, she left. I love it. She's gone.
Hi, John Alba.
Makes my life a lot easier. I agreed to an appearance here. I waived my booking fee to appear on the Shining Wizards, and yet no one decided to give me the Iggy that Kate Hensler was going to be hosting and presenting and bothering me.
What was it that you did to your booking fee, John?
All right, so John, this all came about last minute. Kate is essentially the fourth member of this podcast.
She's the Miguel Cairo of this team. I understand that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like a very niche early 2000s baseball joke, if anybody gets it. So
we were actually just talking about the niche baseball. And all right, so let me ask you this.
I know you don't talk about wrestling on this show, so
yeah,
the first hour.
No, you have to watch wrestling to talk about wrestling.
True.
So what would you say in a packed Yankee Stadium?
Oh, why is that not a banner? I don't know. Sorry,
what would you say would be the percentage of casual baseball fans and passionate baseball fans
in a packed Yankee Stadium?
All right, so maybe Yankee Stadium was a terrible.
I was gonna say I haven't seen this new stadium packed ever, so I don't know. The old stadium,
for the sake of percentages.
I mean, the old stadium had a great atmosphere. The new stadium, outside of like 2017, a little of 2018, there really wasn't a whole lot going on there. The problem is the Yankees have outpriced their blue collar fan that made so much of that Yankee fan base during that dynasty era, and they've outpriced them. And I think that's a baseball wide problem.
Okay,
but especially with the Yankees, and I don't think the Yankees are putting forth a product right now. Sure, they're making the playoffs, but they're barely making the playoffs. I don't think it's a product that the casual person wants to invest a ton of money to go see. And why should they? Especially when you can watch it at home and not have to deal with traffic. Like at this point in my life, I'm approaching 30. I very much have reached the age of
old man over here.
All right, yeah. No, but like, and this is my point here that I'm not that old, but I very much have reached the point in my life of let's try to beat the traffic. So the incentive isn't super high to pay a ton of money to see things. So I think as far as like percentages, like I'd say the diehards are a very small percentage of any Yankee game at this point.
Alba, who is on your top poster behind you? Because I think I had the same one.
Yeah, so these posters behind me, the white one, that's the 98 Yankees.
Okay.
And then the one above that are the 99 Yankees. I had something.
The 99 one.
I'm in the process of, I'm in a temporary home studio now, also known as my childhood basement, or bedroom rather. And I'm in the process of kind of trying to set it up for wrestling stuff. But I took some stuff down. I had from I think it was the Daily News from 1998. They did a cartoonized version of every single player on the 98 Yankees on a newspaper rollout. And I just took that down. It's over there somewhere. But yeah, it was back there, and I got a lot of stuff. I got a Ken Danico. I was at Ken Danico night when the Devils retired his jersey. And, they have the banners that they hang up in the rafters. And they gave away to anyone who's in attendance like miniature versions of the banners. So I stuck it on my ceiling with a thumbtack back in like 2004, and it's still hanging up there. It hasn't been touched since. So I got some pretty cool memorabilia around here.
I had my childhood bedroom was, God bless my parents, fucking lime green, dude.
Mm.
Like electric lime green. I thought it was so cool. They had to put like 4 coats of primer on it before they could even paint it when they tried to sell the house. God bless them. But the wall that like my dresser was on was just the same, like coated and all of those. We unfortunately lost a bunch of them in a flood, which sucks. But like, I have pictures of it, and I'm like, I remember that one. I remember that one, and I'm pretty sure your '99 poster was one of the ones I had. But
yeah, no, I got a lot of cool stuff here. Like above me right there, I got a '98 World Series pennant, which is kind of cool.
the '98 team, bro.
Some good stuff. If we're just throwing wrestling at the window at this point.
We'll get there.
I've got 139 scenarios to test your baseball rules knowledge right here. This book probably hasn't been open in 15 years. I just got a lot of dust.
Just put that away.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff here.
So you mentioned the Danico poster. I'm wearing I actually had it was between the Seton Hall and the Devil's hoodie to wear tonight. The last time, actually, the first time we met you, or myself and Matt met you,
were wearing the Prudential Center. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So will we be seeing you this Wednesday at Dynamite or no?
To be determined. I actually I have a ticket, but I'm going to Newark earlier in the day to record episode 2 of The Extreme Life of Matt Hardy with Matt in person. So, hell is that for?
No, all right. So it's normally for when somebody drops a name, but but you have the reason to drop the name.
Yeah, it's literally part of
that's really why you're here.
He's just trying to segue into wrestling.
It's
if you want me to start dropping names, I'll start dropping names. Oh, just got a text from so and so at AEW. So I could literally, thank goodness, he called right before. WWE's top PR guy called me 2 seconds before this. There you go. See that was me serving you up.
No, I was gonna be the segue. That was gonna be the segue. He's normally it's for dropping names, but he's here for the actual reason, and that is the new Matt Hardy podcast, the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy. So let's get right into it. Deep dive right into it. You're doing a lot of press for this show, a lot of podcasts. We'll get into the podcast in a second, but I just want to know, how important is it to you to get onto every possible platform you can, no matter how big or how small an audience? Because some of the biggest advice I've ever gotten was, don't ever turn down an appearance, because you never know who can hear you and what you can do or what they can do for you at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I do, because I do get a lot of people reach out asking to do interviews and stuff, and that's cool, and I love paying it forward, because at some point, I was that 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old kid who was begging people to come on and do stuff with him. I vet everything that I do before I say yes, just to make sure that you're doing it with a quality person. You're not being set up. You're not doing any of that. But outside, as long as they pass the eye test, then yeah, absolutely, 100%. And
you still got set up today, bro.
No, I know. I got duped. I got straight up duped here. That's the thing. I got straight up duped here, but. No, I mean, it's important. And I'm a big proponent of that, of paying it forward to people, because I think that's super gratifying. As someone in my position, it's very gratifying to be able to pay it forward. And I know that because I've known what I want to do with my life since I was 5 years old. And I started doing online live sports talk radio, predating podcasts, when I was in like 7th grade, 8th grade, whatever. And God, I'd shoot my shot with anybody who I possibly could to see if they'd come on and talk with me. And it was like awful. Like, I was terrible at it, but you do it because you get the reps. So if I can help someone get their reps and try to be constructive and be of any assistance, 100%. And then I like just talking about my show. This is the coolest freaking show that is going to be out there. And I mean, we taped episode 1 yesterday, and I can't wait until you guys hear how cool this podcast is. And it's not the Extreme Life of Zach and Cody. It's the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy, as someone pointed out to me.
Was he like, I think we've even talked.
Did I say Zach and Cody? Did I say
You
Zach
didn't, but I've had many people say it. So
was he like, I think we talked about this, that the Hardy Boys were like 2 of your guys growing up. Is like, what's that piece of it like to get to be here as an adult, because I talk about it all the time. I was 21 when I got into wrestling. I don't have like the childhood memories, but I cried when I met Thunder Rosa like a baby. So like, what's that like to have that moment of like the Hardys who you watched growing up and that you were like genuinely super into to like come to this point, man?
It is the absolute coolest feeling in the world. I loved there were like 4 people that were my guys back then. The Rock, because everyone loved The Rock. Who didn't love The Rock? I loved Kurt Angle and the Hardy Boys. So while everyone's at school with their Austin 316 shirts and their Road Dogg shirts, New Age Outlaws, I'm
You're
out
like,
there rocking neon green and purple and wanting to jump off 20-foot ladders. And probably I did crack my head open one time trying to do a swanton bomb. That was fun. But I, more on the micro level, Matt Hardy was the one I resonated with. It wasn't Jeff, and it was nothing against Jeff. I love Jeff, but it was Matt Hardy. I always felt like Matt Hardy was the secret sauce of the Hardy Boys. There was something about him that tied it all together. Jeff was the sizzle, Matt was the steak.
Yeah.
So I really liked that about them. And as Matt's career unfolded, we saw him overcome adversity. We saw him overcome hardships. We saw him reinvent. And at the heart, character development and storytelling is the bread and butter of what I do and what I focus on. So when I was coming up with ideas for podcasts, Matt Hardy was the guy right from the onslaught. I was like, this is the guy who's going to have so much to offer.
Yeah, and let me cut you off real quick right there, because you mentioned vetting processes when you want to do podcasts. Was there any sort of vetting process, knowing absolutely nothing about your relationship with Matt Hardy, if one existed before, or if one, or obviously one exists now? Was there a vetting process between him and yourself? Did you go to him with this, or did he?
Yeah.
Did he want to provide this platform and he like interviewed, or what? Like, how was that? What was that like?
So I want to say I had the idea pop into my head about 3 years ago. That was like, this is something that I think would be a great podcast. You know, just as around this time, Conrad is starting shows with JR and Bischoff. And I'm like, you know who would have such a great one? Matt Hardy. This guy's been everywhere. He's had so many different iterations of his character. There's so much that he can bring to the table on a podcast, and it would be different. And I just kind of kept it in the back of my head because I didn't really have the platform at the time. So once I signed with Conrad, that gives you a little bit of street cred, right? So Matt had followed me on Twitter last summer, and we exchanged pleasantries. We have some mutual friends. And then once I signed with Conrad, I waited a couple weeks, and I was like, okay, I think this is time. I'm going to pitch him. So I just slid into his DMs, as one does. And I said, Matt, I got an idea. And I know that you're always about reinventing and being ahead of the curve, because that's the thing that appeals to me about Matt. He's always ahead of the curve. He's always been ahead of internet trends. He's always been ahead of all that stuff. I'm like, I have an idea that I think can really change the way that pro wrestling podcasting is done. You just got to give me a call, and all I need is 5 minutes of your time. So I went 3 weeks without hearing from him, and then I got a phone call and said, Hardy, Matt. I was like, oh shit, okay. And within 5 minutes of talking, I knew that we were going to be set. And then before an episode of Dynamite in Orlando, whenever that was that like October 23rd or something like that? He and I got lunch. We were supposed to only grab lunch for like about an hour, and we were there for like 2.5 hours, and we just banged out a year's worth of shows there, and we were off to the races.
So in a world where there's podcasts about professional wrestling everywhere, obviously you pitched him about something completely different and you think you could have a great idea. How hard is it to sell a guy who's literally done everything in professional wrestling to come do a podcast when he's not quite sure? I mean, he's Matt Hardy. We get it. He's him and his brother are the most popular tag team of all time. You understand. Mm-hmm. But you said it took 5 minutes. Was there any specific detail of that pitch that sold him other than, we can do it differently?
Is there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, there was. And I think that's my biggest piece of advice too, for anyone who is looking to get into the podcast game. You have to do something different, and you have to, because the market is so saturated right now. So you have to do something different. So my pitch to him was, right now nostalgia podcasts are huge, and that's awesome. Conrad has killed that market. It's incredible. But what if we had a nostalgia podcast that wasn't afraid to connect to the present, connecting the past to the present, talking about the influences that these events from the past have on wrestling as it is today, and also being willing to break down the nuances of storytelling, character development, and overcoming adversity? Because while many of these other podcasts have no issues going into these things that happened in the past, A, many are afraid to talk about things that are going on right now. B, for a lot of people in wrestling, the fourth wall still exists. Kayfabe is still something that they don't want to cross. Matt Hardy's willing to. Matt Hardy's willing to tell you how a pro wrestling match is put together. Matt Hardy's willing to tell you how the No Mercy ladder match was psychologically piece by piece from point A to point B. And that's going to make a difference. And he's going to educate. Whether you're a fan or whether you're a current worker or a future worker, I promise you, and this is like my biggest swear, and I'm going to say this in every episode, you will learn something about pro wrestling in every single episode. And we taped episode 1, and I have no doubt that people are going to learn stuff.
Is this something that's going to be in seasons, or are you just going to release it weekly until
week to week?
Very cool.
And I'll tell you guys this now. I think this might be the first place I'm saying this. So here you go. You got a little exclusive, okay? Just to give proof that I'm not BSing you here, that we're willing to talk about the present. Episode 2 is going to be about Hangman Adam Page. Ooh. So breaking right into AEW ground, we're going to talk about how Matt helped bring Hangman up through the scene because they actually have a lot of ties. And he played a pretty instrumental role in getting Hangman hot with the Dark Order this past year. So we're going to take you from the backwoods of North Carolina all the way to Full Gear, where Hangman Page became the world champion. So I'm really excited for that.
I know.
I'm sorry, Tony, go ahead.
You talked about planning out, 100 episodes when you first got together with Matt. Will we be getting Matt's reign as probably the greatest form of ECW, the WWE ECW?
You bet your ass we're getting a WWE ECW episode. We have already talked about that. I don't know when that's going to happen, but it is going to happen, 100%.
I guarantee you, I'll make a guarantee right here, right now. I mean, I don't know what your other topics are. Hangman Adam Page is a pretty good one. This will be your highest rated downloaded.
My gut tells me episode 1, where we're talking the No Mercy ladder match with Jeff Hardy, who, by the way, just happened to show up without me even knowing. I think that's probably going to be a pretty
download. What was that like? What did that do to you when Jeff Hardy walks in the room and you're not expecting
it? So I did all my preparation, assuming it was just going to be Matt and I. And
you're a prepared guy. I know this much about
you. Well, the thing is, Ian Eagle, world famous broadcaster, is my mentor, and what I learned from him is pre-production is production, and that's like the most valuable lesson that I think any broadcaster can take with them. Pre-production is production. The more prepared you are, you're set. I never ever pre-prepare interview questions for any interview I do, because I think an interview needs to be a conversation. I don't think an interview should ever be, I got to hit this question, then this question, then this question. But I had 8 pages of notes of stuff ready for Matt. And we're about to start, and he goes, oh, by the way, I might need to get the door at some point during this. I'm like, okay, no problem. And then we finished teeing up the match, because every episode, if we're talking about a match, is going to have a match breakdown where we literally point by point go through the match and the psychology between each spot. And he's like, hold on, I got to get something. In steps Jeff freaking Hardy, and he's like, you cool if Jeff talks about the match with us? I'm like,
no.
Yeah, I'm cool. That's awesome. So thankfully in my preparation, I had mentioned specific spots in the match that were specific to Jeff. So I had Jeff there to bounce stuff off of. And I'm not BSing you when I say this. The 45 minutes that Jeff Hardy is on this episode is some of the finest 45 minutes in the history of pro wrestling podcasting, because it is just 2 of the most creative, smart, daredevil minds in the history of wrestling breaking down an iconic match. And For those of you who will watch it on video, because it'll be available on Matt's YouTube channel, you will see the pure joy in Jeff's face as he's talking about this and reliving this match. And that was the coolest thing in the world for me.
So I think actually when I was in high school, I was in it was a TV journalism class, and I'm pretty sure like everyone like wrestling wasn't cool. Like people, like all the athletes, like watched it, but like you didn't wear wrestling shirts unless you were Kevin Garifo. And so like I remember, I think I actually finally.
I mean, you can hit the bell for me for saying Iron Eagle too. Go ahead. I named up. Oh, yeah. Good. Okay, sorry, Kevin. Go ahead, continue.
No, and I'm pretty sure I brought this match in for them, and they finally like I try to pitch like wrestling articles for the newspaper, try to pitch wrestling articles for the TV station, and all this stuff. And I think this is the match that I brought in. I'm like, listen, even if you're not a wrestling fan, you're gonna want to watch this match, and you'll have a new appreciation for wrestling. And while it wasn't 100%.
Right.
Enjoyed it was the teacher appreciated that I was so passionate about it, and that was a class of 20 people. Your audience is going to be 10 times more massive. So having this match and having Matt and Jeff, maybe by 5 or 6 people, so having Matt and Jeff break this down has got to be I'm looking forward to it. So it's got to mean the world to you.
What I appreciated so much too was Matt put so much effort into this, and I was not expecting that. I'm so used to working some of these shows where the guys just kind of show up and I do all the research, and Matt reached out to Edge, Christian, Jeff, and was like picking their brains on like, hey, do you remember this? Do you remember this? Do you remember that? And we go into their payday, what their payday was for this match, which is going to blow your mind what their payday was. And I'm not going to spoil it.
And I think this is the first time that I've ever seen someone, if this is not the match, I'm gonna be such a jerk, when Jeff Hardy's on the top and he does the leapfrog,
the leapfrog
ladder to the leg drop.
Well, it's not just that spot. Yeah. Almost every spot in this match is done for the first time ever.
Right.
So that's why this is such a huge match. There's the leapfrog spot. It's the first time we ever see the seesaw spot with the ladder where it gets sprung up into faces. And Joey Mercury destroyed his face on that. There's and you're going to hear the story of who came up with the seesaw spot, which it's none of the 4 people in the match. So I'm excited to get into that, and it's pretty amazing.
I just remember that spot being the reason why I think that non-wrestling fans will like it, because it's something I've never seen before.
No,
so if it's something I've never seen before, and these people were gonna love it. They'll think it's more like Cirque du Soleil, where I know it's wrestling, but it's something I've never seen before in wrestling. This is going to be something amazing for them to watch.
The leapfrog spot, when we start talking about that, it's man, I'm not saying this just to like promote my podcast. We had our producer who was with us as we were recording this. And to be transparent, we actually had some recording difficulties in the beginning because Matt lives in the backwoods of North Carolina and internet connection is not very good. So in the first half of the episode, it gets a little rough at sometimes. But when Jeff popped in, it was like the heavens opened up and everything just worked. And my producer texted me while we're doing this, and he's like, this is unbelievable content. And I'm so excited for people here because Matt is so transparent. He's so open and honest. And listen, we all love those nostalgic podcasts. We love Bruce Pritchard. We love Eric Bischoff and all that stuff. They're so entertaining, and they are the reason that I'm doing this. But when those guys are kind of hamming it up a little bit and all that, you're not going to have that with this. Matt is so transparent, and transparency in wrestling, Kate, this, it's not easy to come by. So
no, not at all.
When you have that, especially from an active talent in a major organization like Matt Hardy. So yeah. And I asked Jeff how he's doing too. So you'll hear what he's got to say, and that's good too.
When you talked about, and I think about this with Jericho all the time, I feel like so much of their ability to stay relevant in today's wrestling landscape, whatever you want to call it, is that reinvention piece.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's so important. I remember Jericho saying he didn't really get Orange Cassidy kind of until their feud, and then he was able to grasp why people loved him. But the willingness to go along with that anyway, because the crowd was into it, was such a key part. What was that like sitting down with Matt? Like, does that check out with you, that part of his ability to stay relevant for so long has been his creativity and his ability to reinvent himself like that?
Well, that was my pitch to him. My pitch to him was like, man, you are a serial reinventor, which means we have so much that we can talk about. There's so much meat to the bone here that we can dig into. And what I appreciate so much is that he's willing to talk about his struggles. He's willing to talk about addiction, and he's willing to talk about overcoming adversity like that, which is going to be, those are going to be the best episodes, truthfully. So I'm really looking forward to delving into that. But the reinvention is a huge element of Matt's career. That is what makes him Matt Hardy, right? So you'll hear stories about how he planned these reinventions. You'll hear stories how he didn't plan these reinventions. And I'm not going to tell you the specific story because I'm going to wait for you guys to hear it on episode 2. But the Big Money Matt character is based off something very close and personal to him. And he wasn't even supposed to be the guy thrust into that position with Hangman Page for their feud. There was supposed to be somebody else who it was going to be for. And you'll find out who that was going to be. And it's just because he's so adaptable, he's able to be like, I can reinvent into this and slide right in. So, yeah.
It's funny because I feel like the older we get, I feel like the term reinvention gets thrown around a whole lot more looser than it really should be. I mean, you have your obvious ones. Your Chris Jericho's obviously completely reinvents himself. Matt Hardy literally transitioned from returning to AEW as, broken and then seemingly out of nowhere. I'm sure there was a little bit more story than I'm remembering, but seemingly out of nowhere, all of a sudden, boom, Big Money Matt, and no one seemed to care, because like now he's tutoring Private Party, he's got Butcher, he's got Blade, he's got all these guys that we know from watching small promotions, but now he's leaning that way. Does he delve into how his role is now with those guys not on camera?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't taped episode 2 yet. We're going to, but I imagine that will come up, no doubt about that. And you'll kind of hear the genesis of Big Money Matt and where that comes into play. And there will be more episodes in the future on Big Money Matt. And what I love so much about this podcast is that Matt's career's not done. Yeah. There's still more stuff to be written that we'll be able to touch down the line, And I can't stress this enough. It's so important to me to get this point across. This is not just a nostalgia podcast. It's using the concept of nostalgia, but connecting everything to how it has influenced wrestling today. I genuinely believe Matt is one of the most influential wrestlers in the history of the industry. Between he and Jeff, everything that they've done separately and together, they have changed the industry. And in Matt's case, multiple times as a hardcore act, as the broken character that led to cinematic wrestling, so many different times throughout this. Matt was one of the first wrestlers to embrace Twitter and social media, like things we don't even think about. Matt was one of those guys that was so far ahead of the curve. That's why this podcast is going to have legs.
And of course, we are on the line now with John Alba, host of the new podcast starring Matt Hardy, debuts January 7th on the Pod Heat Network. And of course, new episodes drop every Friday. Let me just go back to what you mentioned about oh my god, I just lost my train of thought with that plug.
Of course you did.
Okay.
That's okay. I'll interrupt you because I have
No, I got it real quick.
Oh, wait, I got one too. Wait.
Tony's been shafted here.
Tony has been
Tony's
shafted.
always shafted on interviews.
I'm fine. I'll just ring the bell.
So this idea that you had about connecting the tissue between nostalgia and current wrestling is, you said it's 3 years in the making, but an idea like that seems like it's way more than just 3 years for something like this. What was the impetus of this idea? Because it's something that you said is different. Was the idea, hey, I got to think of something different, so this came, or was this the idea that you had first? Oh, and by the way, it's different.
Well, the idea was, what would a Matt Hardy podcast sound like? That was where it kind of all started from. And I said, just like straight up, oh, him talking about past events would be really cool. But when you have so many of these come up, and keep in mind, so this was 2018, I come up with this. There's not a ton of them, but they're growing and growing and growing. And Conrad's got some, other people have some. So how can you make it different? Because the key to success in broadcasting is, how can you be different? And that was what immediately appealed to Matt. So I just was trying to formulate ideas, and like producing content is kind of what I do for a living. That's, I have a TV background where I produce TV at the national level. I produce it at the local level, at the regional level. So when you're someone who has to constantly cultivate ideas and come up with stuff, your brain just kind of thinks a certain way. So I would see something on TV and I'd be like, okay, how can we adapt that and make it this way? How can we do that and do it this way? That's kind of, if you're a content creator, you have to think like that. And I mean, I can't go into specifics right now, but I have another podcast that I'm going to be launching soon that is also very much, Kate kind of knows about it, but without going into specific details, it's extremely different. So that's just kind of what you have to do. All right, what do we got here? This question.
Yeah.
What is
Asian Joe asks, other than Matt Hardy, is there any other wrestler that you would have wanted to do this kind of show with?
Like, do a podcast with, or do this specific show with? Because like this specific show, this is Matt Hardy, and like that was I made this concept for Matt Hardy specifically. Are there other wrestlers that I would love to do shows with? Yes, 100%. I spent months trying to pitch one recently released, I won't say who, but one recently released WWE talent from this past summer's group about just like being ahead of the new era of wrestling and like how can wrestling constantly adapt and like get into psychology and all that, and they weren't feeling it, and that's cool. Like, you're going to get rejected by people, and there were tons of other people I'd love to work with. I would love to have more cracks at hosting the Kurt Angle show. I had such a blast hosting the Kurt Angle show. Kurt was one of my guys too, so just getting to talk to him on the episode that I hosted of that. So there's definitely a few, but for me, that was it. It was Matt Hardy.
With Matt's, like, when we've talked about his reinvention, but one thing that I think gets lost in that conversation is the versatility of being a tag wrestler, a singles wrestler, now leading a stable. Is that something that you plan on delving into as episodes go on, like the differentiation between all those different types of storytelling within this form of storytelling?
100%. And awesome. That's huge to the reinvention of being able to do it all in different ways, right? So the stories that they tell in this first episode about this tag team ladder match, those life experiences are going to be different than him in episode 2 talking about working against Hangman Page in Ring of Honor in 2013 as a singles act. So that's what will be so great about the show, because every episode will be so different. And I've thought about doing certain things linear, but I think that will kind of lose some of the unpredictability of the show, that you really don't know what we're going to talk about on any given week, because we are hopping from the match that launched the Hardy Boys' career to a match that we saw within the last year that was just important to Matt. And then we haven't formalized specifically the next few, but I imagine at some point in the next month, we're going to talk about Omega Pro Wrestling, which is the promotion that the Hardy Boys started in North Carolina in the mid-90s. So we're going to go back and forth between all this stuff, and you're going to hear all these different characters come out through Matt.
Two-parter for you, and then I'll let Kevin, who is chomping at the bit.
I like he said, you don't prepare questions, but every answer just creates more questions.
Well, that's what good and I want to. This is a great point to make, actually. A great interviewer, and don't you ever think I'm calling you a great interviewer. but well, Hensler knows I'm definitely not talking to her. But what I'm saying is, great interviewers, they ask follow-up questions based off of what the person responds. So for anyone who's out there listening, a little journalism piece of advice there: follow-ups. So go ahead, Kate Hensler, follow up on what you were going to say.
So enough about Matt Hardy. I want to know about John Alba, and a little bit with Matt Hardy too. How, like, were you just very confident in the concept, so you didn't really have nerves, or were you still like, oh my God, this is Matt Hardy, my palms are sweaty, like, holy cow? And when you're putting the show together, it sounds like you had a really fleshed out concept, but it also sounds like he wanted to have a lot of input. So what does that barter look like as far as putting episodes together? Is it he's like, these are the things I want to focus on, these are the matches I want to focus on, or are you like, I want to hit X, Y, and Z, and he's like, let's take it to here, there, and everywhere?
Yeah, I wasn't nervous about talking to Matt Hardy or anything like that. I think when you do what I've been doing for as long as I've been doing, in NFL locker rooms, in NBA locker rooms, that stuff kind of wears off on you. You don't, I mean, I've seen things in NFL locker rooms. I've seen parts of human beings, very prominent human beings. Maybe the all-time winningest Super Bowl champion quarterback, and when you see those things, nothing really phases you. So reaching out to Matt didn't bother me, but for my personal reasons, I really wanted this project to happen, and for him too. For me, this is like the ultimate way that Matt can give back to wrestling and help educate people. So I really wanted it, and he was so down. And what has been so awesome is in these last 3-4 months, I've really gotten to know Matt at a personal level. And this guy that I grew up watching on TV as a little kid, he's now like someone that I would call a close friend. And he trusts me entirely to come up with everything for the show. Throughout the week, I pitch ideas to him. I bounce it off to him. He says, yes, I can talk about that. No, I don't know if I have that much to go off here. And it's been incredibly collaborative. And he texted me something just so nice yesterday and complimentary that I'm going to save for the rest of my life. That it meant so much to me. And yeah, man, it's been nothing but awesome so far.
That rules.
What's your experience been like working with Limitless Wrestling? Easy for me to say.
You're unbanned, damn it.
Well, I love working on the indies. I love working on the indies, and Limitless is kind of my home promotion, and I genuinely believe that Limitless is one of the top promotions in the country. I really think it's got some of the best wrestling in the world, quite frankly, at the independent level. Had, in my opinion, the indie match of the year this past year with JD Drake and Daniel Garcia. And then just this past week at Restival, JD Drake and Alec Price.
Again, yeah.
Alec Price is unbelievable, and he's the next guy to break out in pro wrestling. But I've been involved with Limitless pretty much since show number 2 back in 2015, and seeing the growth has been incredible. We've had some ups and downs. I've been banned twice from Limitless, which not super cool. One was a 3-year ban, and the last was just a 3-month ban. But it's a great promotion. Prestigious is running wild, and I'm unbanned now. I can show up whenever. But I was planning on showing up at Restival in Worcester, Massachusetts, but I was told by Limitless wrestling promoter Randy Carver that it was Wausau, Wisconsin, not Worcester. So here I am in Wausau, and I realized with 10 minutes before Prestigious's match that I'm supposed to be in Worcester. It's very easy to mix those up.
Of course.
And I put out there into the Twitterverse if there were any 10-minute flights from Wisconsin to Massachusetts, but apparently there aren't. So that sucked. But you never know when I'm going to show up.
I can't believe you fell for that.
It was Randy Carver has a history of being very misleading, and
sounds like an ass.
It's almost like he doesn't want me to be there.
It's almost
I didn't know better.
Almost as if. Let's talk about that though, real quick, because I knew you were managing. You took some damn bumps, dude. Let's talk about the fact that you legit attempted some serious elbow drop stuff. You took a really nasty sincere spot in the corner because Davian kicked your ass. It's not all about the wave. It's also about you getting your ass kicked. But sincerely, I didn't know, because managers take spots all the time, but you took some real spots. What was behind the curtain, if I'm putting together a podcast with the extreme life of John Alba here? What was that like? Were you scared getting in the ring? And how long was had
Yeah.
you been taking spots? Like, give us a little insight.
This was probably my 5th match ever, but it was definitely the biggest match. I'd done like 3 battle royals / Royal Rumbles. I did a handicap match back in 2017 where I didn't really do a whole lot, but it was January of last year, so a year ago. And Randy came to me and was like, "What would you think about doing a match in like September?" And I'm like, "Go on, what are you thinking?" And we started talking and we built this incredible story that was literally, and I mean, you don't see this stuff on the, and this is what I love about Limitless. You don't see this stuff on the indies where there's a 9-month storyline with a plan from from point A to point B. And I had in my mind, if you've seen the match, you can go find it on IWTV. I had that vision for the finish in my head dating back to February of what that moment would look like, where she had me in a Boston Crab and my guys all try to make saves and they all get caught and there's this circle in the middle and everyone's standing. I had it in my head. I'm like, if we can get this visual, people are going to lose their minds. And it was insane. The day before I went to the dojo, I was going to do an elbow drop in the match. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, I'm gonna do an elbow drop. And I practiced 40 elbow drops the day before, going up to the top, dropping the elbow, going up to the top, dropping the elbow. It was ready to go until an hour before the match, in which they cut it from the match. And then I ended up getting gorilla press slammed. But I brought you a souvenir because I knew you were going to bring this up. Here is the shirt worn in that match that Davian ripped open in order to chop my chest. It said together, it's hard because she ripped it, but it said, "Make Davian prestigious again." And then on the back, it said, "I was there," like the WrestleMania shirts. 9/25/21, Yarmouth, Maine.
I would pay good money for that, John.
Jeremy Lambert's claimed the throne already.
Of course he did.
So if you want to get in a bidding war with him, go ahead. But absolute blast. It hurt like hell. And she killed me. So that was that. But you know what? No grudges. New year, new me. And we'll see what happens.
I'll ask my final question before I turn it over to the fellas. And this is a sincere question.
Okay.
Has anyone started the wave during your matches? Because you are out there about it. Nobody started the wave during your matches?
No, because they're all stupid and they don't read stuff. But they'd be smart if they did, but they'd also be stupid for doing the wave. So if they ever tried to do the wave during a match, I'd just leave.
Just writing down,
okay,
go to Limitless Wrestling.
Hey, Limitless is not the only place I work. I just want to make that clear. But
Hey, John, you're telling me that if you weren't attending a surfing competition and it got really boring, you wouldn't start the wave?
Oh no!
I should leave right now.
You should.
Oh my god!
You should.
At no point in your incoherent, rambling response did you say anything that could be considered a rational statement, Kevin. Everyone here is now dumber for having listened to that. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Tell me right now, though, after a couple of minutes, you're gonna laugh at that.
No, Kevin. No.
That's good. Right, so going back to my other questions before I was
please.
called the terrible interviewer.
Sorry, I need to make this. I need to make this very clear, Kevin. There are two personalities to John Alba. There's John Alba, who answers very earnestly and honestly, and then there's the Emmy Award Winning John Alba character that may have. He came out in that moment. So
where's Erica right now? I know I said that was my last question.
Erica is in Orlando right now.
Still? All right.
So
I miss her.
So I'm actually surprised I remembered both of these questions because it's been like 20 minutes. And I have the memory of a freaking goldfish.
Write it down.
No, get out of here. All right. So you mentioned your concept of whether or not you wanted it to be linear. And I feel like the concept that you pulled fashioned itself to not be such just because of that. I'm sure there might be a time where you want to continue something that you might not think you have enough time to do, but I think that it's such a genius concept because people will keep coming back, but just not to see what happened next. It'll be like, here's a new story that I want to tell. Like weekly. Is that something that kind of just entered into your mind? Like we want to present like it's almost like presenting a series premiere every week.
Yeah, and like I was thinking about it because I'm like, okay, here's a topic: Broken Matt Hardy. Do you do 1 3-hour episode on Broken Matt Hardy, or is that something that you can stretch over the course of 4 episodes? Because I think the Broken journey can be talked about from mid 2016 all the way into the end of his WWE run, like truthfully. So,
and like, yeah, across 3 different promotions.
well, and then there's
too.
the Expedition of Gold that is an episode itself.
Yes.
And
oh my God.
And that's what I'm saying. There's so much stuff. And there is an incredible story that when the time comes, I cannot wait because he told me this story and I almost want to forget about it so I can feel like I'm hearing it fresh again when we record the episode about the WrestleMania 33 return.
All right,
which
so just
I
two
think
more out of me real quick before I let you go. How much research did you? I mean, I know you've been a lifelong fan, but how much actual like time and effort and hours have you put in? Is it something that you do all at once, or is it just idea by idea?
For like researching for an episode?
Yeah.
I'd say I'm working throughout the day on and off for like 3-4 days on it. So like I've been working, I'd say to get all the prep ready for episode 1, it probably took about 4 days of just on and off, going through newsletters, watching the matches, writing notes. And because we could have paid a researcher to do it. Like we have researchers on our team, but I'm not the kind of guy that learns by just reading off something. I need to like see it and very tangibly learn it. So that's kind of my methodology when it comes to researching. And yeah.
And like, who doesn't want to go watch awesome wrestling matches, right?
Well,
like,
and if I'm going to talk about breaking down a match and the psychology of the match, I need to see it firsthand.
yeah.
You know, one thing I do think I have a pretty good understanding of, and it's because I work on the independent scene and see how matches are laid out, I have a pretty good understanding of how to tell a story in a match. So if I can convey that and break it down piece by piece, and why does this make sense to do this here versus this here versus this here, and compartmentalize that, then I'm doing my job well as the presenter for this.
I had a follow-up question, but Kate, completely decided to to jump right in there. So researchers automatically brings me to ad-free shows because everyone mentions on these shows the researchers and stuff like that. What has your experience been like working? And again, a plethora of experience in the sports media world, but this environment under these people that has quickly become probably the most popular dynasty, for lack of a better word, so fast, so quick. How was that feel to be thrust right into that so fast?
It was a really big learning experience for me because I was so used to having to do everything myself in TV news. Like, there's no news crews anymore. Like, you are a one-man band. So I was doing that. And then when I join with ad-free shows, it's like there are people who are designated to do this and this and this. And people don't realize how big Conrad's team is. He's built an empire. So there's people facilitating different roles. So that was a lot to adjust to. But to their credit, they have given me a ton of creative freedom. I have several shows on ad-free shows that are exclusive to that platform. One-on-One with John Alba, which is a long-form interview series that I've always wanted. And they have been so therapeutic for my soul to just get a chance to do long-form interviewing. It's my favorite thing to do in the world. So getting to do that, I have a part in the interruption style show with Danny Cage, the owner of the Monster Factory, and that's called Up for Debate. And that is so cool, that show. I think it's like the coolest wrestling show in the world right now. And that's been a blast. And there's a few other miscellaneous projects that I've had in the works too for ad-free shows that you'll see.
I think it's so cool that you linked up with Danny Cage because we all love Danny Cage here. Absolute the best.
Don't inflate his ego. He does.
Listen, I got Twitter for that.
Cage.
I got Twitter for that. He doesn't listen to us. I got Twitter to get at him. Before I let Tony close you out with all your plugs and all that great stuff, I would love. I don't know if you've done this already. You probably have, because the word that keeps coming up is reinvention. I would love to hear Matt Hardy, in his own words, define what the term reinvention means in pro wrestling, because anyone can switch characters and do this and that. But
Sure.
I would love to know what he thinks reinvention truly means.
Well, the beauty of that, Kevin, is that in every episode we do hashtag Ask Matt. So if you would like to submit a question to the podcast, you are more than welcome to submit that and hashtag Ask Matt. How crazy is that?
Look at you.
Does he respond with Matt facts?
Well, okay, so actually here, you get an
Oh,
exclusive.
I
You
love
want an
that version of
exclusive?
that.
You want an exclusive? Part of the caveat was every single episode begins with a Matt fact.
Yes!
So,
That's awesome.
It's like my favorite Matt
So-
Hardy thing ever.
and the cool thing is, like, you know, Matt facts are usually like funny and often irrelevant, but these Matt facts are actually relevant to the topic at hand.
Topic.
So,
No.
so I'll so like here's again, spoiler. I can't believe I'm giving you all these spoilers here for episode 1, but the Matt fact for episode 1, which is about the No Mercy ladder match, is Matt Hardy has never met a ladder that he's afraid of. So
That's awesome.
so like, you know, it's very Matt Hardian, but
Yeah.
also it's relevant to the topic at hand. So every single episode will start with a Matt fact.
I love that. And I'll let Tony close you out, but we just bust balls so much. But on a sincere level, I fucking adore you. And I'm so glad you're moving back to Jersey, and I'm going to make you hang
this-
out all the time.
Oh, so you are busting my balls half the time. Is that what this is?
Oh, crap. Kayfabe, bro. Kayfabe.
No, I'm going to show you guys something very, very,
no.
very nice right now. No, this is very nice. This is from Dynamite, where you and I took such a very genuine. I mean, listen, you look adorable there, but I am hot as shit there. I mean,
I'm
really.
not gonna lie, you still had the heel beard growing in. You
Oh
look
my God.
great.
Look
I
at-
have my patented cheese grit on because that's the only way I know how to
But
smile.
look at the hair. I mean, it is good stuff there. So, yeah,
I'm gonna
I mean,
call that smile the Kate from now on. Just
Yeah.
the Kate, yeah.
Kate's, I'm always happy to be everywhere, no matter what the situation.
Yes, absolutely. No, listen, Kate is a gem like 96% of the time.
That's
but-
the
Man,
nicest thing anyone's ever said about me. Thank you.
No problem. But no, it's fun stuff, guys.
In fairness, I don't see what Billy Gunn said he saw on you, that you had a punchable face. I don't.
Oh, come on. This is a very punchable face.
No, well, not the
That
guy in the.
actually, I didn't think that either. Like, from a sincere level, I would not have been like, that guy is punchable.
Hmm.
No, the
You're
guy in the
nice.
picture. The guy in the picture you just showed. No, you right there.
Yes.
Maybe a little
Right,
bit.
very
That's-
much so. Well, it's different when you walk around with the Emmy and like you're no, but I'm serious. It's like you're goading people to want
Right.
to just kill that guy, and like that's the most fun, and there is nothing more fun.
I do have one last question before.
I got
we-
time here. I got till 9, so you let me know when we're good.
So, when Jeff Hardy comes to the door, and I'm thinking Matt would say it in my scenario, but I want to know, in your head, did you
Oh,
think,
boy.
Brother Nero, I knew you'd come.
Okay, so again, I'm giving you guys a bunch of exclusives here. So Blue Chew is one of the advertisers for this podcast,
Of course.
and
Hook it
so
up.
I'm like, okay, I got to get as many Matt Hardy puns into this Blue Chew read as possible. And how can you can take your sex life from V1 to V2, like
The word hard isn't his last name. It's
Right.
Yeah, it's
And,
perfect.
Matt realized the importance of taking the twist of fate into your hands rather than making yourself a whisper in the wind. Like there's just
How-
there's so many
I got one.
opportunities there.
How about this one? How about Blue Chew? Delete and repeat.
There you go, delete and repeat. I mean, the first line of the promo is, "Do you want to make your gimmick go from broken to woken?" So, but anyway, the one that I didn't put in the read, and I'm going forward, it will 100% be is, how did we not get him saying it or me saying it that I knew you'd come? How did I not get that in the read? Like, I knew you'd come.
That's the one you got?
So we that one did not make the read for episode 1, but
Oh, we're gonna make
there's
the
a lot of good ones. There's still a lot of good ones that I think you'll pop for. So
There's got to
Yeah.
be a Willow reference in there somewhere too. if I'm thinking.
there's a lot of subtle ones too that even just talking about side effects, it's like there's so many different things. So Yeah,
Oh my God.
Thankfully, Matt Hardy lends himself to a lot of shit like that.
Have
See,
you
this is-
met Matt's booty shaking wife yet?
Virtually.
Okay, very cool. Is she awesome? She seems lovely.
She is a Spitfire Latina.
Also seemed like that.
So, yeah.
John Alba's been with us. Social media at John Alba on Twitter, at John_Alba on the Instagram. Of course, we've been talking about it for the past hour. He is the new host of The Extreme Life of Matt Hardy with, of course, Matt Hardy. Check it out at Matt Hardy Pod. New episode drops Friday. It's the No Mercy 99 ladder match with the Hardy Boys, between the Hardy Boys and Edge and Christian, excuse me. Every Friday, new episodes. Like I said, debuts Friday at Pod Heat, and also, of course, at Ad Free Shows for all the other stuff that John's been doing. Anybody got any follow-ups for John before we let him run?
Yeah, what the fuck's wrong with the wave, John? Come on.
Oh, here we go.
You want to know what's the problem with the wave? Here's the thing. People pay good money to go to sporting events, right? Like, it's a pretty penny. That's what we were talking about at the beginning of this conversation. It's a pretty penny to go to a sporting event. So if you pay money to go, you reserve the right to do whatever you want. I believe in that principle. But with that said, you're paying money to go to a sporting event, to watch said sporting event, and to respect said sporting event because you have paid your hard-earned money to watch said sporting event. So when you're doing the wave, you're saying, look at me, I'm an idiot, I'm taking away from the action that's going on right now, and you're making an ass out of yourself. You're making an ass out of yourself.
We're both baseball kids, right?
Yes.
4 hours into a game.
Listen.
3-2 count, runner on first.
That. I get that. But
Okay.
how can you not be romantic about baseball?
Hey, there it is.
And the answer is, well, you see what's been done to the game, but
right, yeah, no.
the people who run baseball don't even like baseball. That's what happens. So I think the wave is just brutal.
So and that's what kind of brought me to my initial question with you in terms of the casual versus the diehards. If it's more casual, you kind of get the feeling that they're starting to wave because they have no idea what the heck's going on, or they're diehard and they're just bored.
Like, don't go to a game at that point. That's just, I don't know. That's how I view it. And I get some people want the social activity of doing it, but there are better ways to have social activities than to spend $50 at a baseball game.
Pop a Blue Chew.
Right, sure. if that's your recreational time, then awesome, good for you. That's neither here nor there.
How social is Kevin getting with Blue Chew?
I don't know. Popping a Blue Chew before you go to a social gathering probably seems like a terrible idea, quite frankly. But
you didn't say gathing.
Just,
I mean, we were talking about 50,000
attending a baseball game, but
capacity event.
no,
I keyed in the word social.
I mean, I just, that's how I view the wave. And it's funny because I get obviously so many questions about pro wrestling and people want to talk pro wrestling, but I think a lot of people forget that, like, at my heart, I'm a sportscaster and, like, I love talking about sports, and sports are still my ultimate, and baseball specifically is like my ultimate love.
What's your number two? Like, I know you're a baseball
guy.
The
big four?
Yeah.
Probably basketball, then football, then hockey. Nice. But there was a time period where I was so knee deep into all four of those.
Yeah.
And I didn't miss a Devils game. I didn't miss a Nets game. I didn't miss a Giants game. I didn't miss a Yankees game. I'd have multiple monitors. Then as you grow up through the years, that kind of changes a bit.
Sure.
And when you become an actual sports journalist, you check a lot of that fandom at the door and you learn to watch things very objectively. And I watch pro wrestling extremely objectively now, despite what people on Twitter like to think. And
you're a homer for no matter what. You're a homer for this.
You're a homer for WWE. You're a homer for AW. You're a homer for, and these people don't even know half the things that I've dealt with. And like, I mean, Kate knows some of it, but like some of the shit that I've dealt with some of these promotions, and I'm not just talking the major ones, even minor ones.
Yeah.
One day I will write a book, and I started said book, and it's appropriately called, based off a sign that I got at a Limitless show one time by a fan. Who the hell let John Alba back in? And and boy, will there be some great stories there. It'll probably come out like 30 years from now, but there will be some good stories.
Let me ask you this, because you have been open in other interviews about how much your mental health was affected by like kind of your rise in sportscasting. I experienced this on the music side where I very much started to hate working in music because I was working in it so much and so burned out, and it was so punishing. Was there a time where you ever questioned getting out of sports entirely, or did it affect your love for sports, or did the love stay there? Because I know I was like, I don't want to listen to a note of music, and it came back, but like that burnout piece of it is very real, and I really had a hard time with my relationship with music after that.
All the time. I came very close to getting out of sports in the summer of 2018. I nearly took a lifestyle show job at NBC Connecticut, which I like low key, very high key want to be Guy Fieri one day. So
low key, very high key.
like getting to host a lifestyle show for me is so up my alley, and I still would love to do something like that. So I came very close to walking away from it then. And as I kind of cultivated more following in pro wrestling too, there were a lot of times I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I'm so burnt out from pro wrestling. And when you feel burnt out from something you love so much, it sucks. It's like the worst feeling in the world. And there was an incident. I mean, some of you may remember this. It was probably about a month and a half, 2 months ago, where someone, I won't go into specific details of it, but someone quite literally tried to end my career by making a complete fabrication of making something up that some people in a major organization believed. And I mean, I had full proof that it was fake, and even had the cops involved at one point. But it was at that point I was like, I don't know if I can make this jump into pro wrestling full time. I don't know, because tribalism is so insane in pro wrestling. It's insane. But you know what? Cooler heads prevail, and I love pro wrestling. I love the art of it because I think it's an art. I really believe it's an art.
Storytelling. It's undeniably an art.
And I love storytelling. I grew up in the school of Boyd Hooper and Steve Hartman and Tom Rinaldi, and I love it. So I just try to remember that, and that's kind of what has been propelling me forward. And now this Hardy podcast, I was really worried. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I thought that we were going to announce this podcast and people are going to be like, and there it's Matt Hardy. But seeing the response has been incredible. So I hope you guys love this episode and this show as much as I love recording it, because it was the single most fulfilling thing I've ever done as a broadcaster.
Do you have a go-to match? Like
Matt Hardy?
Just in general, like if you're feeling burnt out on wrestling, what's like your go-to match?
If I'm feeling burnt out on wrestling, I'm not watching wrestling.
Fair enough. What is there one particular match that reignites your love for it, I should say?
You just give me a great technical wrestling match that I can watch the shit out of, where it feels like a sporting event. That's
your vibe.
Bryan Danielson, Daniel Garcia, Jonathan Gresham, Lee Moriarty. Give me one of their matches.
Hell yeah.
I'm set.
Okay, I'll shut up because I could talk to you all day.
Yeah. John, I want to thank you again. That's John Alba.
Thank you guys for having me for so long.
John_Alba on the IG. May have had them flip flop, but I think I got it right.
The
The Extreme Life of Matt Hardy debuts January 7th on Pod Heat. Follow them. It's going to be great new episodes every week. Like I said, every episode will probably feel like a series premiere. So we appreciate it. Anything you want to leave anyone with before we let you go?
No, I want to hear feedback. I want to hear what people think about this show. And that's important to me. I firmly believe that episode 1 will not sound anything like episode 25. So God willing, we get there. So awesome. I want feedback from everybody. And my DMs are to a fault always open. And
tell me about it.
Yeah, go ahead, Kevin.
No, I'm sorry. And the pod, the Matt Hardy Pod, is the handle for the actual podcast.
Matt Hardy Pod on Twitter and Instagram
as well.
It's going to drop anywhere you can get your podcasts. So Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Matt Hardy brand. And the only other plug I have is I kind of put this out there yesterday, but probably look around February. I'm actually starting a coaching service for people who want to get into broadcasting, and people who want to get into interviewing and anchoring and storytelling.
How do I sign up?
There you go. Right. So I'll have all the information on that, and it's going to be a really cool service where you can interact one-on-one with me, and I can try to help coach you. I've mentored a lot of people in this industry, and I get a lot of gratification from teaching. So I hope that people take a look into that.
Lazy
Awesome,
as
man.
usual, Alba.
I know, right? No. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
Hi,
Even
buddy.
you, Kate.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Hope to see you around Jersey soon, man. Be
See,
well.
I did it for you. Okay, did it for you. Never
Clipping
again.
forever.
Never again. See you
Get-
guys.
Thanks again, John. Be well. Oh man, I wish nothing but the most success for him for this show. It sounds like it's gonna be amazing.
Comes across as a real good dude. Like, and I didn't realize how much experience he had outside of wrestling. Like when we met in Newark, like I knew what he did at Limitless and the stuff he had with Davian and all that stuff. Did not know all that experience in his sports and news career. So yeah, that's great. Anytime you can get advice from someone like that is invaluable. So thank you again, John.
A good steal for Jersey. Getting him back from Florida. I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm excited. Some independent shows in the future, some good stuff, hanging out, some good hangs maybe. We'll see.
Hell yeah.
All right. Tony,
Do
I
you
know it's
guys?
late.
Well,
Yeah, top five. Easy. Yeah, top five. Yeah. No, I'll give him the official top 5 on the Twitter, but do we break?
It
Or what do
felt
we
very
do?
dark ordery, my hand on that one.
if you guys want to take a break, I could run through all the plugs real quick. So this way we
Yes.
don't have to run the whole commercial break and whatnot. Because one, I don't think we need to talk about everything tonight. And I know there's a couple things that maybe we want to do, maybe we don't want to do.
I think the agenda would be picks, past and upcoming,
Mm-hmm.
and a brief synopsis of Dynamite. I mean, I don't even care. Like, we can come back and talk about.
We could save Dynamite for Wednesday night show. You know, the Mark Order podcast.
Yeah, and
members
we,
of
and
the
we,
Shining
touch,
Wizards
and we touched
Network.
a little bit on Rampage, so I think we're okay.
We could talk about day one as well. I mean, just mention, you know,
Well,
we could talk
can-
about Big Swole, and we could do
Oh, yeah.
a top 5 if we have it.
Yes,
I think we got enough.
Which is why we gotta take a break.
All right, so you guys go pee and poo and do whatever else you need to do,
All right,
and
or just
I'll
take a
handle
break.
all this.
All
No,
right.
Go ahead. See you later. Goodbye.
It's gonna be the Mark Order thing here.
Probably. Let's
I can
see.
switch it. Let's go.
All right, switch it up. Let's go.
Oh no, wait. What's going on here? Oh, stop cam. I always forget the stop cam thing. There you go.
That's all right. You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want in this life, like the Jerky Boys used to say. Anyway, of course, while these guys are taking their break ski, I will continue on and tell you all about the great shows on the Shining Wizards Network. Of course, do not forget this past Sunday, Inclusive Breakdown. Justin and Vince had myself and friend of the show, Handsome Dan Lopez, on for their 2022 Death Pool picks. And unfortunately, of course, with the passing away of Betty White on the 31st, we've got our first points on the board. Find out who scored and find out who else we could score with by listening to that episode this week. Of course, Phil and Jay at Turnbuckle Throwbacks, Aunt Money, of course, Kate joining us tonight, Matt, Ryan Schlong, Mark Order Podcast. That's on Wednesdays. Probably not this Wednesday because I think all of them are going to the Dynamite show, the first show on TBS in Newark on Wednesday. So huzzah for them. Snowy's got a double team action for you. Wrestling Night in Canada and Radioactive Metal, both on the Shining Wizards Network. Both great shows. Ringside Rant, of course, we love those guys. We got the Midnight Jory, Cal and Mike. And of course, us, the Shining Wizards. The reason why you're tuned in now, not only do we have great shows on the Shining Wizards Network, but we also have a Patreon, patreon.com/Wizards Podcast. We've got so many things that we offer as a Patreon supporter. If you give us just $1 a month, you become a Patreon producer. We will mention you each and every week on the Shining Wizards. But that's not all. $3 a month, you get watch-alongs, you get shows, you get profiles, you get bonuses. Kevin and Matt did a huge omnibus on what 1 year in the life of WCW Bret Hart from his debut through 1997. No, not through 1998. That's it. He debuted in 97. Amazing stuff. We got tons of great bonus content for the $3 tier. $5, we will plug your shit. $10, $20 every 3 months. we will send you a box of wizardry. Matt collects wrestling attire, memorabilia, and all kinds of knickknacks from around the world, and he will be happy to send it to you. Support us on the Shining Wizards Patreon page. And right now, we want to thank those who continue to support us. Our Patreon producer roll call. First, we got to start with our king and our queen. Manny Kratzer, the king of the wizards, and Kathy Hummer, the queen of the wizards. I think they would get along if they actually met each other in real life. I think Kathy's easy to get along with, and Kratzo's just fucking Kratzo. I mean, he is what he is. Anthony and Danny Russinello, the AOP of the SWP. Sean Toe and Sean Kaleo, two Seans from across the pond from each other, across the world from each other. I bet you if Sean Toe dug a hole, he could reach Sean Kaleo all the way on the other side of the world. That's how awesome the Seans are. Kate the Great, she don't shut up, but we love her just the same. OnDeckIC.com is the place. She's on Fightful. She's on Fight Less. She's on Fight Your Mother, Fight Your Father. She's fighting everybody. She's awesome. Glad to have her. Matt Garifo, no relation to the KJG. Maddie Mellinger, definitely not related to KJG. They don't even have the same fucking name. Matt, Kevin, come on, really? Christine Friesendorf. Mark Parloni will say happy birthday, Mark.
Happy birthday, Mark.
Oh, Kate's back. I love it. She probably heard me talking shit about her. That's fucking great. Scotch Drinks More. Mr. Kenny Hossey, the Scotch Drinks More. Jay Kopp, the Big Cop of Pump, the greatest part of the Turnbuckle Throwbacks. Mott Spock himself, Thomas Cops, fucking Milwaukee Tom, whatever he's calling himself today. Mr. Michael Hammond, Mr. Matthew Birch, the True Prince of Pro, Mr. Braden Berger, and the fucking LeBron James figure collecting thing guy, Brendan Haney, Carrie Cowling, the man with the big one, Ryan Schlong, our friend Asian Joe, who's not white, thank you, Ryan, Mr. David Henry Bauer III, Mr. Mike Peterson, Big Rob Humphrey, and last but certainly not least, I hope Kevin's back because I don't have the screen open, and his pal Antonio Hosserman makes experimental music at harvestmanrecords.bandcamp.com. He's the one, the only, too sweet to be sour, full of vinegar and power and whatever the fuck they say, Mr. William Mercier Jr.
Lives are going to be in William Mercer's hands. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, Kev.
I didn't know if you had it covered. My bad.
Bang, bang. I'm really good at this, Tony. Come on, you goons.
Oh, brother. Sorry. His name is Judge Crandall, but I know him better as Vince. He's one of the hosts of the Inconclusive Breakdown. You damn right I got a point on the board. Thank you. Like I said, check that out. It's a riot. Those guys do a great job every week. I don't know. What am I looking at here? I don't know what I'm looking at. People are sending me things all over the place. Anyway, well, Kevin, which direction do we want to? Breaking news.
Start with that.
What? We got breaking news? What did I miss?
Well, it's been posted that Inside the Ropes, Matt texted us about this.
Oh, that's what that is?
Against the Ropes.
I'm sorry, Against the Ropes. The series will release its first streaming platform this Friday, so stay tuned for that. You guys had the delightful Kayla Sparks on. What a great interview, and what a just great fucking person she seemed like. Like, you've been following her for a long time, and it sounds like she had not only like a very comfortable rapport with you guys, but like gave you a lot of credit for kind of reigniting her love of wrestling. And, you know, sometimes you never know what happens when you take off your shirt and dance to the Spice Girls, because look at what led to this.
It's hard to believe that we're responsible for anything positive, right, Kev? Anyway, so not only do you have the Matt Hardy podcast to look forward to on Friday, now you've got Against the Ropes to look forward to on Friday. Friday's going to be busy. You people better fucking book a room somewhere because you're going to need the space. That's all I'm saying. I don't know what I'm saying.
Okay, and we have SmackDown and Rampage and Wrestle Kingdoms this week. I'm going to be so tired all week, but let's do it.
Yeah, it's a busy week. Not only are there 2 nights of Wrestle Kingdom, but a third night a couple days later where it's it's
them and Noah.
Yeah. Right? New Japan against Noah. It's going to be interesting. Matt's favorite old guy wrestler, the Great Muda, is going to be on the show. I'm sorry, Keiji Muto. So there you go.
There you go.
There you go. Kev, which way do you want to steer the ship? You want to talk a little picks. Oh, you want to do picks? Is Kevin frozen? Is Kevin frozen, or is he like passed out?
A little bit of both.
Yeah, I think a little column A, column B. Did you hear me? Did we lose you?
Dude, this is insane.
Uh-oh.
I'm literally sitting the closest to my router that I could ever possibly be. Like, it's literally right there. Like, there's no way I could get any closer, and I'm still having the Wi-Fi issues.
It is what it is, man. Shit just happens. It's technology. It's not perfect.
Dude, and also for the last 3 nights, my power has been going off in the middle of the night. Like, I wake up to
You need to watch some more NWA and get yourself a power surge.
Yeah, well, I would if they weren't stupid recap shows for the last 3 weeks. I actually looked into it this week, Tony. I was gonna watch Power, but it was a best of. So I was like, eh.
Yeah, it was all kind of like, I mean, if you wanted to look into one of the matches from my top 10 from last week, we got the replay of Camille and Serena Deeb for the women's championship, which was a great match. But other than that, it was like, kind of seen everything. So
yeah, I CM Punk pointed out on commentary. Great head of hair on that Serena Deeb these days. As Punk pointed out.
Was he being facetious? Was he being mean?
Well, because she was in the Straight Edge Society. She was the one that had her head
fuck
saved.
me.
Yeah, so on commentary, he was like, great head of hair on that Serena Deeb.
Wow, I whiffed on that.
I'm just the biggest Punk mark in the world. I don't think a lot of people would necessarily remember that, but
but the Straight Edge. Remember that you're a Punk mark, or remember the Straight Edge Society? Because I remember the F out of the Straight Edge Society.
They could have, like a lot of factions when I first got into wrestling, like they could have done so much. Like when I first started, the thing that drew me in more than anything was Legacy. I was like, oh, I think I get wrestling. Like,
yeah, until Manu and Sim Snuka joined, and you're just like, you probably don't even remember that.
No, I do. I remember that. I remember, like, when you first start watching, right? Like, I remember being so incensed that Randy Orton just cheated. Like, how could he? But I remember with Legacy, especially because it was like not based on nationality or something like that. There was this really cool thing that you were like, oh, I'm new to wrestling, but I get it. Like, all these guys have this common thread, but they also have their individual personalities, and it doesn't have to be like a tag team necessarily. Like, Legacy was so cool to me, and then it just like didn't really materialize or go anywhere. And you had DiBiase, you had Cody Rhodes, you had Randy
having
leading
a photo
the way.
shoot right now.
No,
I thought somebody was ripping up paper.
My dog. Hold on.
Oh, Buster! I saw Buster walk by before.
It sounded like camera flashes going off.
I thought it was more like somebody like filing things.
He's chewing up like a bag, but I didn't think that it's
Poor
okay. He doesn't need to chew up a bag on my floor. I just didn't realize my mic was picking it up.
There he goes. Hey, we got Buster Butthole tonight. There you go.
I got to fill in for Matt. You know what I mean? We need the animal butt in the background.
All we need is Rhiannon screaming bloody murder. We got a show.
His face when he had to go was like.
I listened. I need to watch the replay. I know exactly where it happened.
Those 20 seconds are just that moment of sheer terror on Matt's face. Like, gotta go.
Kev.
I know I feel bad. I cut Kate off with her point about why she got invested in Legacy before Buster. It
was just factions made sense to me because of Legacy right off the bat. Of like, these guys have this commonality, right? But they are also individuals with their own paths, and that was something that was so cool. And then it just didn't really like materialize. But they had such a good talent, and then like it was weird that it didn't really. They could have done so many things, like happens a lot in wrestling, I guess, that it could go a lot of places it doesn't go. But they were fucking rad.
And no, I agree, because it's you look back to like the way they worked together in the Royal Rumble, and it came down to the three of them and Randy Orton, and like you thought that maybe Randy Orton would win, but I'm pretty sure Triple H won that one. So
well, didn't Randy Orton beat Ted Jr. and Cody
at WrestleMania?
Match? Yeah,
at a WrestleMania, yeah. And then the three, I was actually at the Hell in the Cell, I believe it was, when it was all three of them versus DX in the Hell in the Cell. Actually, Tony, get the bell ready. Former New Jersey Devil, Pittsburgh Penguin, Paul Martin got me tickets for that event, so that was good. So when you have professional athletes going to bat for you,
not bad.
Made in the shade. All right, Tony, what do you got?
Kev.
All right.
So Big
Fucking
Swole and
demon.
Tony Khan sent out a tweet or two over the past week.
This is a question directed for Kate because she's the one stirring the pot on this. But she's
Stirring
chewing
it
an
up like
apple.
red velvet.
Her dog's ripping up paper. She's chewing apples. We gotta have.
I was
we gotta
so
re-
hungry.
We got
So-
a real bro.
I mean, we don't have to take a deep dive, but let's start with the first text from Swole. The one thing that I was really puzzled about is she's claiming there's no diversity like on TV, but correct me if I'm wrong. Like, I think AEW's got a really diverse locker room. No?
So I think
What was? Sorry, Kate. Real quick. I just want to clarify this because this is a lot of sensitive stuff right here. That was the point of the tweet. The point of the tweet was there's no diversity in AEW. Point
No.
blank.
There is no representation truly, and where there is, it does not come across in the Black community as genuine also at all. I don't know why everybody's so afraid to accept it or say it, but it's not a good look. There's other stuff. Then she says, I want to see here with promises you made to be diverse. I want to see that, not with just Black people. I would like to see Latino, Jesus, Latino or Hispanic or more Asians. I feel Asians and Indians do not get the love. They just don't. It's such a big gap. I mean, honestly, like, I don't know what her experience was. And it seems like she said that things were on good terms with her and Tony Khan when she was leaving. But I mean,
let's look at that
the
tweet.
roster.
Yeah. All right. So here's the difference. You're either looking at the roster or you're looking at the roster positions and where they are. Because yes, AEW has a completely diverse roster. No one can argue that. Representation matters, and it clearly does matter. The question is, does she think that should it matter more in terms of position on the card? Is what
I'll say this about it. One, not to always put over Fight Club, but at Fight Club, there's a show called Grapsity, and it's
I caught bits and pieces of this.
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
One thing that they talked about was the difference between diversity and Black representation and how sometimes those things can get skewed. And I think that's really important. But they also booked All Out with no Black talent on the card, and I think 2 Hispanic wrestlers on the card. So part of it is the roster versus positioning. And we also have to keep in mind when Swole had her exit interview, like, they've worked on a lot of stuff since then. Like, they have expanded a ton, it seems like, of what they're trying to do with the women's division, which was a huge complaint, and with the amount of Black talent they're signing. Jay Lethal has signed since. Lee Moriarty has signed since. I think Scorpio Sky is going to be better positioned on the card. I'm hoping they're lining him up for something with the TNT title here. So I think we also have to keep in mind, like, AEW has made progress on that. This is what befuddled me about the whole thing. So
Yeah.
The quote from Tony Khan, or the tweet that he put out.
Who tweeted first, by the way?
Oh, it was Swole.
Okay.
Well, she did a podcast episode on it, and she also
that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, but she, like, in that had really good things to say about Tony Khan and said, like, these are the areas that I was critical of, and it was making me unhappy, so I left. And she said she thought they left on a good note. Now, Tony Khan's tweet was like, these are all the ways that we're diverse.
See, once you do that, you already know that, like, to me, once you do something like that, you have to justify it. Like,
it felt defensive.
It kind of seems like
he said, I let her contract expire because she wasn't good enough at wrestling. And then promoted Rampage on top of that. So just a trifecta of stupid, because if you want to come back with a counter argument that says, look, we have all this diversity on the roster in actuality, so while I respect her experience, here's all the ways that we've tried to make progress on that. And a lot of the things that he said, this was my thing, a lot of the things that he pointed out, I'm like, that's all new stuff since she left. So you don't get to take that victory lap.
Yeah.
And then taking aside
the timeline is important. And I think less is more with a statement like this. Again, I didn't read any of these tweets, so I have no real clue what's going on.
One tweet.
One or whatever. Yeah. Oh God.
Which makes it worse in a lot. My opinion. Yeah.
The moment you start giving examples of reasons why you just got to tell people, hey, just look, just do the research. You could, like, I get you have to defend your brand, but, like, I think AEW is plenty diverse. And again, like I said, there's difference between This is such a it's such a weird topic that like it's gonna be tough to make a point. And
No,
I'm
say
I'm,
it.
I'm,
Just say
I'm
it.
kind of on Big Swole's side, but you're right in terms of timeline.
Yeah, like and to her point, it's like you can have a diverse roster if none of them are on a pay-per-view. That doesn't help you very much, right? Like this is something I thought ROH was doing really well. Like Jonathan Gresham is an incredible black wrestler. What he did is so different from Shane Taylor Promotions, right?
Yeah.
On the Hispanic side, you have LSG, who's not Italian and is Hispanic, and you have luchadors, right? So it's the depictions within that diversity, which I think is something that AEW needs to make strides in. The inauthentic thing feels maybe like a little bit directed at Brandy, because I've been hearing a lot of that. But I think to then take a swipe, this is why I brought up Grapsody. Will on Grapsody said, like, you're the employer in that situation, and even though wrestling's a weird landscape, if somebody goes on Glassdoor and leaves a review of working at Walmart and says, I had a 3.5-star experience there, but this is the reasons that my experience wasn't great. You don't get to come back as Walmart and be like, you suck at stocking shelves. And also we're running this 20% off coupon. Like, to say diversity is important and then promote your show in the same breath is so fucking lame.
I think that's the exact point I was trying to make in terms of Tony Khan's response. I think it was like,
yeah, look, should he have answered that way? No. On the other hand, I'm sorry, maybe I didn't go through what Big Swole went through, but here's a tweet from Powerhouse Hobbs. This came out after. I've been featured in some heavy-ass spots since being signed to AEW, as well as other minorities. Now, this is the kind of point that I want to get at. He says, he writes, quote, now TK has put me in spots at the right time that meant something. And he goes through Punk, Christian Cage, Brian Cage, Hangman, especially running in and saving Moxley. This company has been there since the passing of my mother. So he's talking about the company being supportive. Cody and QT played tremendous part in getting me signed. Lastly, if you have an issue with someone, pick up the phone. I think that last sentence goes both ways. Definitely like a foul on Tony Khan. No argument there. People were calling for him to fucking fold up AEW. Are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, he said something stupid. Did he say something inappropriate? Maybe it wasn't inappropriate. It was stupid of him to say it. It was. He was speaking more with his heart as a person rather than the owner of a company.
It struck a nerve, I think.
Exactly.
But the best thing that I saw floating around about it, and then I'll close the loop on it myself because I'm just so tired of it. But somebody said, how does John Moxley go on Jericho's podcast, talk like a whole heap of way worse shit about WWE and get celebrated? But then Swole kind of very professionally says, like, you know, these were the areas that I felt like they needed to improve upon. She said she genuinely wishes AEW the best. It was just time for her to move on. And she's out there getting like kind of crucified by this. I think Tony Khan's getting it worse, as he should. But the fact that reaction was there, like, is it because it was big bad WWE or is it because it was a white dude doing it? Like, it's tough. I
think it's more Moxley was shitting on the machine that everybody loves to shit on, number one. But number two, I mean, like, unless you really do a deep dive, like if you look at the roster at AEW, there's a ton of representation on there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've got the LGBTQ community, you've got black wrestlers, you've got Latino wrestlers, you've got Mexican wrestlers, like, and Brazilians, for God's sakes, one of my favorites over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's tons of diversity there. Maybe we look at it objectively. I don't know. Maybe it's a talent thing. I don't know. Like, I'm not saying, look, all the black wrestlers are terrible. That would be an awful thing to say. And it's not true. Maybe it's a timing thing. Maybe it's just like they're at points in the stories where these folks just aren't involved yet. But aren't the Lucha Brothers still in a thing? Aren't they the tag champs with FTR? Isn't that going on?
They are.
Powerful involved with something on top? Weren't they feuding with somebody at this point? I think
it's more. I think when you have Cody Rhodes go out there and give a promo about calling yourself literally the Ellis Island of professional wrestling.
Yeah. All right. There you go.
You know what I mean? Like, and then you haven't had a black champion and you have Hispanic tag champions. But again, her exit interview wasn't yesterday. It was a couple months ago. I I think if you set out to say, and I lose my fucking mind at the women's division. I can't imagine working there and seeing what the women's division was like. So let's also keep the women's perspective of this too. Yes, you have Jade Cargill who's being pushed to the moon. Yes, you have Red Velvet there. Brandy, like you do have representation in those areas. But it's also what those representations look like, and the amount of screen time that the women were getting is laughable.
All right. Kate, I'll be honest with you though, as terrible and as panned as a lot of the stuff was when COVID first started, when they were looking for an opponent for Shida, the Japanese women got fucking episodes on YouTube just dedicated to. I mean, I know it's YouTube, and I know that was a sticking point with you, but I don't know, man.
No, I think it's diverse. I think her bigger qualm. I know she named diversity across the board. I think her issues were the portrayals, and I think her bigger issue was probably with the Black representation piece of it, would be my guess.
Yeah, and because especially when you look, again, only guessing, not because when you look in every other company, it seems to be so much more like prevalent and so much more like in every other company, but AEW.
Yeah, and if they like, it's not just that they booked All Out with no Black talent on it. It's that All Out was like a 400-hour pay-per-view and they didn't have any Black talent on it, right? Like, we're not talking 3-hour pay-per-views. We're talking about you had a loaded card with no Black talent on it. That I understand. I think there's probably a happy medium there between what both of them were saying, but like, it was just such an inappropriate response. And then to promote your show on top of it after was just so tasteless.
Yeah, that's textbook struck a nerve. I'm just going to retaliate and be stupid.
Oh, it's this. 100%.
Yeah.
But hey,
on New Year's Eve, come on.
Look. Side with Swole all you want. Jade Cargill's in the finals of the TBS tournament, so huzzah and fuck all. She's gonna win. It's true,
but
she's gonna win that shit.
I predicted that like 3 weeks ago, Tony.
That bitch show. It's absolutely she's gonna win it. But again, Swole's interview was months ago, so like, there's a time gap there.
Wait, was the interview months ago, or was her exit months ago? Like, because there was two separate things. Like, there was an interview that she did.
This interview that she gave, she said in my exit interview, what I told them was I was unhappy with the diversity and the amount of screen time. So that interview was released recently, or that podcast episode was, but what she was saying was, on my way out in my exit interview, these are the reasons that I was unhappy. And she felt like she gave constructive feedback, and Tony Khan kind of reacted like a little bitch is what it looks like. So,
but I mean, you guys still love Tony Khan, right? I mean, everything's cool, or
me and TK, best friends. Yeah.
Well, I meant you guys on Wednesday in general. Like,
oh well, we'll see, brother. Because
we'll have to wait till
be there Wednesday.
Yeah, we gotta wait till Thursday. You guys bringing signs like "fuck TK" and shit like
Tony
that.
Look, like
I will.
It's just.
How do I? No, I can't. You gotta let good people over there that work for him.
You know what's funny?
Kevin knows people over at the Prue Center.
One of the Grapsody guys goes, he was like, look, if Vince McMahon didn't have a PR company tweeting for him, do you know the shit that would be coming at that
that's a great point.
Of course.
That was my thing, was just like, they need an in-house PR person for several reasons. Like, this is also not the first thing that Tony Khan has done that was stupid. He cut off a teenager who was asking a question about whether AEW would do an all-women's pay-per-view to yell at her about the fact that they paid the most to send their money to Empower. Like, he's made multiple missteps here. I know they have an outside publicity firm as like a PR idiot. Like, you need someone that is the linchpin between what your brand is doing and that. And it sounds like they just need an intern to walk around and take Tony Khan's phone out of his hand. That's what it sounds like.
I mean, normally, sometimes the interns make the biggest mistakes on like sports teams' social medias, but at this point, how could it can't be much worse.
No, and it should just be one guy who's hired to walk around with Tony Khan, and he sees the blue little bird pop up, and he just rips it out of his hand.
All right,
that's his whole job.
Tell me what you want to say. You tell me what you want to say, and I'll make it the complete opposite or a little bit better.
We're gonna save it to drafts. That's what we should do.
Yeah, we're gonna save it to drafts. I'll type it verbatim, and we'll save it to drafts, and we'll look at it again in 2 hours. Do you still want to say this? And be like, no, all right, it's gone.
See, this is why I watch shows like NWA and MLW. They are super diverse. Take a look at your champions in the NWA. You got Mecha Wolf and Bestia, your tag champs. You got Tyrus as your TV champ. I know it's Kate's favorite.
My God.
Your women's tag team champions are the Hex, Allison Kay, and Marty Bell. I mean, you got fucking diversity up the yin yang, and these are all top spots.
Well,
All right,
sincerely,
Tony, don't socialize this for your own.
yeah,
I'm
you
just
don't need
saying.
to take a victory lap.
This isn't about you, T-Donk.
Well,
We got a 20% off coupon code too, by the way.
Go to Amazon. Go to Wizard Spot. No, but I had said this well before this had happened. Like, I felt like ROH was doing such a good job at how organic their diversity felt. Like I had pointed out those examples, but like all over the place, it just felt like really authentic portrayals of what the artists wanted to create. And again, going back to the Grapsity guys, they were like, support the wrestlers, not the company. Like, we've learned this lesson so many times over and over again from multiple companies. And it's like, yeah, like you don't want to, like, I know a lot of people that were like, I don't want to watch Rampage after Tony Khan did this. It's a really shitty thing to do. And he did it like 20 minutes before Rampage was going to be on. And Nyla Rose was like, please don't punish, Bunny and Penelope and Tay and Anna Jay because of like what this idiot did, which was a really good point. So it's just unfortunate. And it's just so, my co-host on Tuesdays was just saying like, it's such an unforced error. Like there was just no need for this. And honestly, it was a Fightful article that he retweeted. And I was like, there was nothing in that article that warranted a response. Like, I didn't feel like Swole's, like the transcript, like it did not warrant any response at all.
And here's the thing that I've noticed
bizarre.
about, here's the thing I've noticed about Tony Khan. He'll do it on anything. You take any kind of shot at him and he'll completely, whether you're from WWE, whether you're Bischoff on a podcast, whether you're from former talent in his company, if you try to take the smallest shot, which wouldn't in any other walk of life either be considered a real personal attack on you, he reacts like it is a personal attack on him.
It's because billionaires surround themselves with nonsensical, glad-handing, douchebag yes men like John Lauren.
This is the CM Punk promo. I know. This is the CM Punk promo.
CM Punk promo. It was a part of the pipe bomb.
That's it. Let's move on from that. Not to try to diminish it or anything like that, but
no, but there's nothing new to say about it.
What can you do? He's the spoiled rich guy's son who will like attack when he feels attacked. All right,
Kev.
Which one we going with first?
Kev, there was a pay-per-view on Saturday. Sorry, premium viewing experience?
Yes, which kind of makes me question whether or not we should have picked it to begin with.
Well, Kev, we did. So guess what's coming up next, folks?
Uh-oh.
It's time for the pay-per-view pick extravaganza thing 2021. WWE Day 1.
Kev. WWE held their first big event of the new year, which means 2021 picks are rapidly coming to a close. And things are not looking good for you and Matt, sir. Not at all. I wish I had the numbers. Where did Matt give them to me? Matt sent them to me somewhere. Okay,
so the number. I don't know if you have the total numbers. We have the numbers.
I went 6-1 for the show. Kevin and Matt both went 4-3, respectable, but not nearly enough. So Kevin falls 2 back. Matt stays even with Kevin.
Oh, 2 back.
Like, you fell 2 more back.
Oh, 2 more back.
Oh yeah.
I thought you said I was 2 back.
Which match was the one that I got wrong? I don't even remember. I'm gonna have to pull this up because Matt said he had everything in here and he really doesn't.
No, you got I know this. RK Bro. Oh no, you got that one right.
I got the pre-match wrong. No.
Oh yeah, you picked Pew Pew.
I picked Ricochet. Cesaro and Pew Pew on the pre-show. So I got that wrong. Sheamus and Ridge Holland won.
Bro.
Do you know which ones that you guys had? Oh, you had.
I know which ones I got wrong. I had The Miz beating Edge, which is wrong. I had
You
the
know what,
Street
though?
Profits beating RK Bro, that was wrong. And I had the 5-way main event. I stuck with my original pick, which was Kevin Owens, and I got that wrong. So that was, and then we made they called the audible about 45 minutes before the show. So we had to make a switch. They added Brock. You, Matt, I think had Brock. No, you had Brock against Roman. Matt had Roman against Brock. And you guys
Matt,
both went Brock.
We both had Brock over Roman, and then we both went with Brock for the 5-way that ensued. Matt had Cesaro and Pew Pew as well. Matt also had the Street Profits, which was wrong, and he had Madcap and Moss, which was wrong. So, right?
Drew
He's
swinging for the fences.
Well, that's what it is. So he had the Usos, he had Edge, he had Becky Lynch. He also, and that was it. Yeah. So there you go.
So,
and he had the Brock Lesnar match. So there you go.
The thing with this show is that like everything that I thought was going to happen, like kind of happened, but I just didn't think it was going to happen at this show.
Yeah.
Like I thought we'd have a little bit more, like the whole like Beth Phoenix thing coming back. I thought that would be our WrestleMania match, that mixed tag, because WWE likes to do those, mixed tag extravaganza, PR shows. But if we're gonna get it, I guess we're gonna get it at the Rumble, which is kind of good because that means we're gonna give Edge a better WrestleMania match than a mixed tag with his wife and Miz and Maurice. I feel like so. I enjoyed the heck out of this show.
How?
Oh, and wait, that's a blatant lie. Wait a second. I enjoyed 3 matches on this show.
Which matches did you watch? Which ones did you watch?
I watched the whole show.
I only watched 3 matches. I want to see if they're ones that you liked.
The opening tag match between the Usos and New Day.
Okay, I didn't see that one.
That was the match of the show.
Okay,
I'll have to go back and watch that. Mad at how good they are because I want them to stop facing each other 900 times, and every time they're in the ring, they're so fucking good.
Yep,
I'm rooting for them to phone it in at this point.
I enjoyed very much Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan.
Very good match.
And
that sunset flip powerbomb thing Liv did was ridiculous.
Yeah, I enjoyed very much. I won't say very much, but I didn't hate. Even though I got it wrong, I didn't hate Miz Edge.
I actually liked it. I liked the way. Look, if the Miz wins off the Maurice interference with the skull crushing finale, that's a great finish to that match. And that's probably the way they should have went if they were looking for a mixed tag at WrestleMania. Maybe they're not. I don't know. But I think the
so,
Miz could have walked away with that win.
Have Miz win and then Beth come out and glam slam him is the way I would have gone. The crowd was super dead for that match, but I actually liked the match.
Yeah, I agree.
But
and again, like nothing unexpected happened. Like once Beth left NXT, I was like, oh, she's gonna go on Raw and team with Edge or whatever it is. It's just like the timing is so weird for me because there's still so much time between now and WrestleMania. Miz could have won this match. Right, with Maurice's interference on that skull crushing finale, which would have been great. And then, but the difference. Here's the thing, because like it's not just like another normal pay-per-view in between this. It's the Royal Rumble, and a million different WrestleMania feuds can be created in that one night, and the time from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania. So I'm like I didn't think that we'd get Brock winning. I thought. So once Edge won, I'm like, oh, it's a lock. Kevin Owens is winning. We're getting Kevin Owens Edge at some point at WrestleMania or something in the future, or maybe that will be the Royal Rumble match. There's so much stuff. The timing to me was not what I expected. I expected it all to happen, just not that night. Obviously, I didn't want Brock to happen, but because my thinking is this: why wouldn't you just pull somebody from the 4-way and put them in a one-on-one match with Brock for the SmackDown Championship? And have one of them win it, and then have Roman come back and handle his business with whoever has that thing at WrestleMania. When you could still have a triple threat match on the Raw side with the world title.
Isn't the whole beauty of a multi-man match like this that you don't have to pin the champion for someone to lose?
It's the curse of the multi-man match.
Right, like There's so many things I don't understand here.
Okay. So you're talking about the actual pinfall where Big E actually had to take the foot. Unbelievable.
Why the fuck? Like,
come on, that match was fantastic. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
No, the match ruled. The finish was dog shit. So
no, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
It was the hugest hope spot for Big E, and he got caught, and that was it. Boom, over, done.
Why did he pin Big E? Why not have him pin anybody else in the fucking?
Because he's Brock Lesnar. If it was anybody else winning that match, pinning somebody else, sure. But it's Brock Lesnar. He's gonna destroy the champ. That's how he rolls. That's how it was.
Big E's reign was 2 defenses. He was 6-3-1.
Yeah. If you want to shit on the reign, I'm all with you.
I'm shitting on if they run back Big E and Brock, like for an actual feud, I'm A, perplexed as to what the Roman story is, and B, unless they're gonna pivot to The Rock, maybe they got The Rock. But why are you pinning? Like, they love to pin their champions on weekly episodic television too. Why not have Brock pin someone else so that Big E can come back and say, I didn't really lose. Let's have a fucking match. Like, and you said Brock out last. Come on. Like,
well, he was the late addition. That, I mean, they probably
so send him out first. Have him get his pop, and then you have the champion come out last. This was like, they have just been fucking trash to Biggie Langston this whole time. Like,
I think what everyone expects in like triple threat matches, they don't expect the champion to get pinned. So every once in a while, and again, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I have no idea what the ratio is. But so every now and then, pinning the champ is something that you just maybe you don't see coming, and so you just do it.
Already weak.
Again, it stinks for Big E, but this clearly means, and if you couldn't tell by his reign, they had no real clear. What's that?
Oh, I think you're lagging. But my point is, like, Big E already looked weak as hell, and now you're just making him. You had a chance to either legitimize his reign or just make him have a weak reign and look like a weak champion. For what? Like, just have him pin somebody else. You can still do whatever feud you want. You have this ongoing story on SmackDown. Brock Lesnar has said the whole time he's a free agent, so I don't have a problem with him winning the Raw Championship. Even though most of his time has been spent on SmackDown, he made it very clear, right? But, like, just have him pin anybody else except for the guy who you've already made look like dog shit through your dog shit booking. Like, he was that moment of him winning, Jeremy at Fight Club says it all the time, great at booking moments, terrible at booking reigns, like, so bad. And it's so true because it looks performative as shit now.
So, all right. So what would it have, so if they have higher hopes right now, so clearly they already viewed Big E's, for whatever reason, reign as dog shit. So if you already feel that way, what does it hurt to actually put the stamp on a dog shit reign as opposed to beating 2 other guys or 3 other guys that they may have higher hopes for in the future?
Oh, because the handwriting is on the wall with Seth and Owens already, right? So why not have one of them get pinned? Big E say, I didn't really lose it, and then have some fucking big meaty men slapping meat at Royal Rumble between the 2 of them.
I don't want to see that either, because that's the story. That's the storyline that we've seen since the dawn of time with triple threat match. The champion doesn't get pinned, so that's just as predictable as anything else.
I just don't get why they're so obsessed with pinning champions on TV and making them look bad.
Let me ask you this.
And the match fucking slapped. That match fucking ruled. If he had just pinned Kevin Owens, cool. And Seth Rollins didn't help him out, then his frenemy betrayed him. Like, there's so many stories you could do. There's a history with Big E and Bobby Lashley that's sitting right there. There's a history with Brock and Bobby Lashley that's sitting right there. There's any other outcome. And how fucking stupid are you that Tony Khan is getting dragged for being racist and you have the black guy get pinned?
Oh,
like,
here we go.
Think.
Here we go.
That's just dumb business. That's
Please
just
tell me
stupid
that was
on
a
their
joke.
part.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. It's just stupid. They're obsessed with making their champions look weak. I don't understand it. Why are they constantly getting pinned on TV? Why is Big E getting pinned here when you have the easiest out in the world and you have all these other stories in play?
No, the easiest out in the world is to make the guy you don't believe in look like the guy you don't believe in. That's
Instead, I know this is crazy. Why don't you fucking book him well. Why don't you have him kick out of everybody's shit? Why don't you have him take 5 F5s and fucking win? It's so stupid.
All right.
It's
what point
dumb.
leading up to that match did you have any? What point up to hit? You said it yourself. The rain is terrible. Up to what point in your mind did you actually think? Did you have faith that was going to happen?
I was hoping that Big E was going to win because now we're moving into months of programming where things get reset and make sense. I, like an idiot, because I am a naive fool, thought that maybe on day one, this fresh, clean slate, something might fucking happen that wasn't incredibly obvious. Becky retains. The Usos face the New Day. Fucking Baron Corbin. Why did Drew McIntyre and what's his fucking face Madcap Moss have like a 20-minute banger instead of squashing him?
I know, because they needed to fill time because they lost the championship match.
Oh, that actually does make sense. God forbid you put another women's match on, but like, and now, why not? You have. Why wasn't I? Well, I should also
because they buried Bianca Belair and fucking what's her nuts was having pie fights with the girl that left. So what are you gonna do? I don't know.
So God forbid somebody have like an open challenge. But I will say,
also been... who's Carmella teamed up with? Who's her partner?
Zelina.
Oh God, could you imagine the two of them against like? Oh my God, Nia Jax ain't even there anymore.
No.
Couldn't we bring back Natalya and Tamina?
Dude. The SmackDown women's roster has 9 members. 9. But there's also been a COVID outbreak, so I should give leniency to that too, because who knows who actually could have been there and couldn't have.
Do you think we get a title match at Mania?
I'm very nervous that they're going to unify them because they do that every 2 years.
The only thing I'm concerned with is that making the Royal Rumble worthless.
So there is that. My hope is that maybe they do have The Rock, and you have The Rock and Roman, and then you just have Big E win the Rumble and get his title back, or at least a shot at Brock. I think that's a good
how would
way
that
to
make
go,
how would that make the Royal Rumble worthless if they unified the belts?
Because then who's going to win the Rumble as a champion?
You don't win the Rumble as a champion.
If you have champion versus champion, who are you going to face?
If you have two champions facing each other.
If you're going on that ridiculous premise, which it won't be.
Stranger things have happened.
Well, you could though. You could have a triple threat with Big E and Brock and Roman. You could do that.
I got an idea. We bring back the one championship that they need. The WWE ECW championship.
That's it.
Boom.
I mean, so my thinking is this. If Bayley's back in time, you have 2 nights of WrestleMania, right? At the biggest stadium in the world, which they're going to call a sellout regardless. I think maybe you actually have the 4 horsewomen fatal 4-way. And that anchors one of the nights. But like now you have Brock and Roman in this unresolved story. I'm sure Brock's not there tonight. I'm sure he wasn't booked.
They'll do a fatal 4-way, but the champion won't get pinned.
That'll probably be it. I just don't know how. I don't know how you for 2 nights sell out the biggest arena in the world, or like the biggest stadium in the world. Unless you get The Rock and Cena, maybe.
Here we go. How's this for a scenario?
Oh boy.
Here we go, yo. Your Royal Rumble comes down to 2 men. It's Big E and Bobby Lashley. We get a double elimination, and they say, fuck this. We're doing this Bret Hart style, and they're both going to be winners, right? So now, instead of 1-on-1 for both belts, now you've got a fatal 4-way elimination match.
See, you can't do that, though, because the precedent has already been set when Cena and Batista did that.
It's gonna be Big E and Goldberg. None of it's gonna fucking
Goldberg!
matter.
Holy shit! Or what if they make the Royal Rumble for one of the championships? Done that before.
Ooh!
And then you got a title for title match. They've done that before.
A little bit cooler.
Yeah, plenty of possibilities. what one possibility is shrinking is anybody catching Tony this year for the picks. Because I stand at 199, 73-1. Kevin's 9 matches back at 190, 82-1. And Matt is abysmally behind by 33 at 166, 106-1. I think if I was a betting man, I would say that neither Kevin nor myself are going to reach 100 losses this year, this go around.
No.
That's pretty good.
And I do want to say, I did forget an entire pay-per-view. So
I forgot it. I knew it was coming. I didn't realize it was tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, you meant the old one. All right, gotcha.
Yeah, no, I forgot. No, I forgot about this one too. And apparently we're changing the rules because you have to make picks on the show. So
We don't have to. We can wait. We could do it.
no, let's do it. Let's do it. F it. I don't know anything about it anyway, so I might as well just wing it.
All right. Well, let's cue this up again.
I think it's the first time this whole goddamn season we're doing picks live on the show. It's Wrestle Kingdom Night 1.
I think it's the first time we're actually picking a pay-per-view on the show this year.
I think it's this year, yeah. And I was being a little bit over dramatic. I just wanted more time. That's all I wanted. But I'll do it right now. I don't want to be a bump on the log. So
well, there's only like 6 hours until the show starts. Doesn't it start at 3, Kate? Aren't you staying up all night to watch this? Did Kate freeze up? I think we lost. Oh, Kate did freeze. Okay, so Kate's gone.
Is Kate gonna mix in a nap?
I don't know, but Kate's got to mix in Matt's picks because she holds the key to unlocking all of this stuff. Oh, she froze up, so she's got to reboot back. So in the meantime, let me cut the music. While we're waiting, is there anything else we need to discuss before we cover the picks?
Let's see. Again, it's slow week. I'm sure everything will pick up after day one, but like again, not a lot of eventful wrestling shows. Obviously, I mean, was there an MLW show or no?
MLW did their Decoded this week, I think, with Jacob Fatu, but I did not get a chance to see it. But other than that, there was no new. I think Azteca Underground starts this week, which is Aztec Underground, which is their new show. So stay tuned for that. And the NWA should be back with a brand new episode of Power tomorrow night. No idea what they're booking yet, but yeah, it was a lot of best ofs this week. MLW didn't have shit this week. I think they just replayed the Charlie Brazis induction into the Hall of Fame at 2300. But other than that, no, a lot of recaps and repeats. And
I mean, other than what we talked about, I'm trying to see. I didn't see any major news. Oh, Toni Storm got her release, which either she asked for.
She fucking just like after her match just packed up her shit and went home.
Yeah, I don't know why. I haven't seen any rumors or anything like that. So, but that's a pretty big deal because she was pretty heavily featured lately. Well,
she was fucking featured in pie fights. You know what I'm saying? Like it was kind of weird.
Yeah. No, I agree. So let's see. Oh, I actually have. Let's put on Raw. See what's going on Raw because I actually have access to a TV right here.
Is there anything else we really need to cover tonight? Because I think once the picks are done, I think I'm
let's wait for Kate. Oh, she's back.
Kate is back. Guess who's back? Back again. It's so cute seeing Buster just walking around too. He's adorable. And dead silence. Do you have Matt's picks for the Wrestle Kingdom Night 1, by the way? Yes? No? Can you hear me? Now she can't hear me. She has no idea. She left again.
Yo, dude, she's not playing off my jokes about not wanting to do the picks on the show, is she?
I don't think so. I mean, Kate's smart. I don't think she's smarmy smart to that extent.
No, but what if Matt's saying like they don't want to do picks? Fuck them.
No, Matt would have texted us, fucking assholes.
I want to do picks. I did research, just not enough research. But now now I'm pretty confident.
All right, it's good to hear. It's good to hear because I think I'm good with my picks too. There's a couple of them I'm still thinking about actually. I kind of don't want to go for all my picks. I have a because I'm looking at night 2's card as well, and I'm trying to think ahead, but maybe I'm overthinking things now.
I'm a person again. Sorry.
Oh, you're back.
I added you to the stream. I didn't know if you realized you could do that yourself.
I don't think I can because I'm in like the guest view.
Yeah, she's got the lock ski.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So yeah, before we get to picks, I'm very excited about AEW on Wednesday, baby. That should be fun.
Me too.
That's right, baby.
That
Can't
should
wait to see all
rule.
that white talent on the show.
That's it. The TBS era. That's what it's gonna be.
Oh my god, that was
Sorry.
if that was any other time in the world, that would be terrible. But it was just.
But
so
that was
perfectly
perfect timing, Kev.
No,
Come
you
on.
nailed
I'm getting good at this.
Beautiful.
timed. That's right.
Chef's kiss.
Mwah.
First of
I'm
the
excited.
TBS, we're gonna get Cole and Danielson part 2 with the judges. I'm hoping one of them's Jonathan Gresham.
You guys are
Should I
getting
Danielson and Gresham.
you guys are definitely
So-
getting Jade and Ruby though, right?
Yes.
Is that not happening at the show?
No,
on
that'll
Wednesday?
be January 5th. Yeah, that'll happen, and then I'm sure Battle of the Belts or whatever will be the first. I
So-
think title defense, but the finals are on Wednesday. Yes.
So, Kate, your gut instinct. Do we think we get another hour out of these two?
No, I don't think so. I feel like that would be too close of a back-to-back hour. Like, I don't think that. I also think it's like a little bit too obvious with the handwriting on the wall. I think what you're going to see, my hope is Jonathan Gresham is one of the judges, and there's some judge dispute that sets up Gresham and Danielson. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, the judges don't have a say unless it goes the hour. So they're essentially meaningless, correct?
I'm thinking it's going to end up being a pure rules match. I'm thinking if Gresham is, if my assumptions are correct, and I don't know anything, but like if Gresham is there, why not make it a pure rules match, and then Danielson breaks some sort of rule and it sets that up. I just feel like that's both of them have wanted this match. Gresham has been backstage at AEW. I feel like this is the perfect way to set it up.
No, I agree. I'm just trying to figure out the way to do it. If A, it doesn't go the distance. B, you're making it a rules match that's never existed before in your company. And C, how a judge would have an issue with Daniel Bryan when it's the referee that would make the decision that he broke the
Well, the
rules, not the
referees
judge.
suck, so
I got an
referees
idea.
are terrible all the time. So maybe the judges are there just to instill the refs.
To me, it would
doing
have to
their
be like
job.
a post
go
match
ahead, Kate.
issue maybe between them.
It could be. I just don't see it going an hour. I feel like it's too close to the last one, and you want that to be. To me, I know some people don't like hour-long matches. To me, that was one of the best matches AEW's ever done, if not the best. Like, the storytelling was unbelievable. This heel run with Danielson, like I saw somebody post the other day, I didn't even realize this, but Danielson ran back multiple variations of the figure 4, like just such a heely thing to do. Like, oh, look, I can do it like this, or I can do it like this. Like, that match to me was one of, if not the best in history. And this Danielson run's been very special. So I don't think you want to fuck with that. I think there's better ways to keep this story going. And you also, I think, Adam, just realistically, like, I didn't actually like the draw initially. I like it a little bit more now. You need Adam Page to have a clean win as a champion, I think, over Danielson. And I don't think it needs to be like this disputed or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, everything is like almost too protected in AEW sometimes. And like, sometimes better wrestlers just win matches. But I think Hangman needs to, going to a draw is okay because Danielson is actually one of the best to ever do this. So I feel like your champion doesn't look weak because Danielson's just that fucking good.
Yeah, I agree. Adam Page
but a solid win, I think.
Adam Page should get the clean win, and then maybe you can even do something where, like, if Gresham is a judge, maybe he hands Adam Page the belt, and it's just simple as
could be
as that triggers Daniel Bryan, who's already triggered, and maybe he just is like, you know,
or maybe Danielson's just you're supposed to be one of us. It could be that you're supposed to be Mr. Technical. You're supposed to be like me. You're supposed like there's a lot of ways that they could have a clean match and still have if Gresham's even there.
If Gresham's even there, exactly. We're going on these. It could be Kerry Silken for all we know.
It could be. It just feels very like it feels very much like that would be the next piece of logical storytelling of that Jonathan Gresham would be one of the judges.
All right.
What if they fuck Adam Page over and Danielson wins. And he wins the title.
People thinking that out there. I just can't.
So then here's the thing. So then Adam Page, who didn't lose to him the first time, technically lost by not being pinned, but got screwed by a judge. Then you have the rubber match, pay-per-view, said, you know what? I'm going to beat you this time. And if I don't do it, whatever. And he winds up actually pinning him and he gets the win. Now, you shit his first title reign, but you made his win that much more important because now he beat Bryan Danielson, something that nobody's been able to do yet. And he wins the championship back.
I don't hate that at all. And it puts massive heat on Danielson in a good way, I think.
Yeah.
But
they don't do automatic returns there. You could script one beautifully. Like that. They did it with Omega and Moxley was the first like return they had, and they're going to do it with the TNT title with Sammy and Cody. But I don't hate that. I just feel like the chase was so long for Adam Page to get it. It would be nice to see him just kind of carry it.
Well, not only that, but if a judge does screw him over, maybe he's got to beat the judge before he gets Danielson. Maybe that's the deal. If you think you can beat Jonathan Gresham or whoever said judges that fucks him, then you get a shot with me. Then Adam Page gets a high-profile win. He gets his rematch. You put it on pay-per-view. He pins Daniel Bryan, something nobody's been able to do yet. Or makes him submit. Even better.
Oh,
even better. Catches him in the cattle mutilation. Boom. Done.
God.
Over.
Man.
That'd be awesome. If they had the balls to do it.
So I've said this a few times on Wednesdays and just in general. Like, I have never watched like a GOAT wrestler in real time. Like, I didn't watch Bret Hart in real time. I didn't watch Shawn in real time. I obviously didn't watch Bruno in real time. I'm much too young.
Don't worry, he's not on the list.
But like, I feel like this run with Danielson is putting him on some people's Mount Rushmores, and that's really cool to me. Like, I've never gotten to see that. So like, as much as a punk gal as I am, and I am, like, I love what he did with Eddie. I think his heel turn is going to be so nasty. But I like this does this Danielson run feel as special to you guys? And I know, Tony, you don't watch AEW, but like, Kevin, you're really into it now. Does it feel like as special to you guys as it feels to me? Because this just feels like so awesome.
It does. It does now, but part of me still can't get over the bitterness of just how quickly, just because he won a tournament, he turned heel. Like that to me just like put a bad taste in my mouth for the whole day. I mean, he's gotten over it, and just like any good performer can, he's gotten over it and has gotten better at it and is completely awesome in his role right now. I just don't want him to win, because to me, you build up. The same thing with Big E. You build up, you win, and you don't do anything with it. And I'm not saying they did that to Adam Page that they did to Big E. And you take the belt off him. I don't think it's ever happened ever. If you could pick a different example where someone's second shorter build to a title was more important than their first build to a title and ended up better, it just doesn't happen. Like, you can't like the Big E run. Awesome. Incredible. He got the Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston. Incredible. Got it. Lost. Granted, he never got it again. But I'm just saying, like, if he had, it wouldn't have meant nearly as much as when it did. But a lot of that has to do with how you've booked the run after. And they did a great job with Page, whereas they didn't do a great job with. I just don't want him to lose. For the same reason you didn't want Big E to lose, I don't want Page to lose.
I get that. That makes total sense.
But if you book a judge who's going to give the match to Page and it's going to cause heat with Danielson, the focus isn't on Page anymore then.
Doesn't matter. You know what? I'll tie this back to a WCW thing. Sting in 97 had that amazing run. Didn't speak a word. Had it. Won belt from Hogan at Starrcade. Vacated it. Won it again at Super Brawl. 3 months later, Spring Stampede. Lost to Savage. Sting dead.
Why are we also not assuming that Kenny Omega might be a judge?
Sting was kind of dead when that first match happened with the fucking fast count.
No, Sting wasn't dead then. But
he was already in the grave, dude.
Sting was dead when he started wrestling on a regular basis on Nitro and eventually Thunder. That's when Sting was dead. But taking the title off him with Savage, who they had no intention on keeping it on, was the kiss of death. But Kenny Omega is an interesting point because he's a guy. Listen, I didn't expect Jericho to come back at Daly's place. That's a whole other interesting thing between him and Eddie Kingston, but we're getting too far into the weeds. But,
well, what if you have Gresham lobbying for Daniels or lobbying against Danielson? You have Omega lobbying against Page, and then you have a third judge who is neutral and Page wins. Like, I think we've been thinking, and I've been thinking Gresham, because judges ROH makes sense. But what if there's someone that's trying to tinker with Adam Cole? I just want them to have a clean match and it to be done in like 25 minutes.
No, that's a great point, because in my head, I've been viewing this at, it's going to be two dignitaries or two luminaries, two like people that know wrestling, and only one active wrestler, and that active wrestler is Jonathan Gresham. For all we know, it could be like Kenny Omega, Jonathan Gresham, CM Punk. For all we know, like,
oh no, it's gonna be Eric Bischoff. It's gonna be like Mick Foley. It's gonna be maybe Dory Funk Jr. with his fucking whip.
In my head, that's how I saw it. I saw it as two, like maybe like two like old timey like guys, like Jerry Lynn. Not old timey. Jerry Lynn's a freaking patron saint. Maybe
He's
like
old.
a Jerry Lynn, a Dean Malenko, and then a Jonathan Gresham. But who's to say it might not be three top guys as judges? Oh my God. What if it's like Kenny Omega, Gresham, and Lethal or something like that?
Or Adam Cole.
Yeah. Ooh. Kevy Likey.
Anybody know what Jason Hervey's up to these days? Jason Hervey will come back and do that shit again.
Maybe
Gino Medina.
Maybe it'll be Ricky Rackman.
Oh, fuck that shit. Ricky Rackman. Maybe they'll just have the No Limit Soldiers be the judges. Oh boy. Kev, can we do our New Japan pick so I can go to fucking bed?
Hootie hoo.
Hootie hoo.
Yes, we can. I know it's past your bedtime, Tony.
It really is. I'm fucking old.
All right.
We got to pick New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestle Kingdom 16, night 1.
Pick music, or are we just going to run?
No, fuck it. We already played it. I ain't playing it again. My voice is already out.
It's time for the pick thing. You're welcome.
We are not picking the New Japan Rambo for the.
You have to do the voice.
Yes, I do.
Yes, she does. Of course she does. It's awesome. We are not picking the Rambo to decide the challenger to the King of Pro Wrestling trophy on night 2. We are also not picking the Shibata match, which is going to be under catch wrestling rules with no strikes because his opponent is Tiba, and we don't know who Tiba is. So, Kev, we're going to start with this one. It's Yo versus Show at Dick to Go. Who you got? Wait, Kate, you have Matt's picks, right?
I do. He has Yo.
He has Yo.
I would have Show because Show's my boy.
And I am taking Show. Kev, who you got? Did we lose Kevin? We lost Kevin.
Kevin, where did you go? Oh, my Kevin.
Kevin's mic is muted too.
Turn my mic on.
I'm going to turn it on now.
Kevin, you're muted.
Kev? Yeah, we can't hear you.
Mute ski potatoes over there, Kevin. You're muted.
Your mic, dude. Is he singing? What is he doing?
I don't know.
He's mad. Oh, there he is. Kev, you got us?
Yeah, everything got unplugged. I'm actually trying to. Just when you think you can do everything right, everything goes wrong.
It's life, man.
I have Show.
Kevin also has Show, so let me just write that down. So Kevin has Show, because I got to give these notes to Dickhead. And Tony, Kevin, Show. Matt has Yo. Okay, the very next match is Hiroshi Tanahashi and the Mega Coaches, Ryusuke Taguchi and Rocky Romero versus Bullet Club members Kenta, Taiji Ishimori, and El Phantasmo.
I'll go. Yeah, I mean, I won't go. I have Bullet Club.
As does Matthew.
I'm going with Tanahashi's team. I'm feeling good about my man, so I'm going to stick with Tanahashi. Tony takes Tanahashi, and Matt and Kevin have Bullet Club. Okay. The very next match, it is the United Empire. Will Ospreay, Great Okan, and Jeff Cobb taking on LIJ, Tetsuya Naito, Sanada, and Bushi. Who's Matt got?
The undisputed. I'm sorry, the different UE, the United Empire.
Matt's got United Empire. Kev, you know what? I'll tell Kev I'm taking United Empire as well.
Well, that's a clean sweep for United Empire.
Kevin, Tony, and Matt, United Empire. Okay. The next match, Matt's favorite wrestler of all time. Wait, where the hell is it? I thought, okay, here we go. Evil with Dick to Go challenges Tomohiro Ishii for the Never Openweight Championship.
I just have that Big Tom Lawler is next.
Big Tom Lawler?
Yeah.
What the hell did he pick? Am I missing a match?
I don't know. I have Big Tom, Dangerous Takers, Hiromu, and Shingo.
Big Tom Ishii. Not Big Tom Lawler. It's Big Tom Ishii.
Oh, Big Tom.
You said Tom Lawler. I'm like, wait a minute. It didn't click. Big Tom. No, it's Tom Ishii.
I'm an idiot. I did not know his name was Tom Ishii.
Well, it's Tomohiro, but everybody just calls him Big Tom. I will be taking Evil in this one. I have this love-hate relationship with the Never Openweight Championship. Nobody really holds that title for too long, and I think Evil's going to take this one.
All right.
I'm with you, T-Dunk. I have Evil.
Everything is evil.
Kevin and Tony got Evil. Matt's got Big Tom. The very next match.
Hold on, wait. I might have to start playing the game here.
It's all about the game and how you play it.
I can't.
I just made that up.
I'll be a hypocrite.
Well, Kev, we got three more matches for night one.
Okay.
Dangerous Techers, Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr. defend the IWGP Tag Team titles against Chaos members Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi.
I'll go first. I have the Dangerous Techers that Kate had winning last match.
Yeah, that's what Matt has here.
Matt and Kevin have the Techers. I'm going with Chaos. I think we got new champs on this one.
The secondary Chaos, you mean? Not the Orange Cassidy version that matters.
Oh, fuck those idiots. Fucking stupid pocket fucking.
With Stu. He's going to turn heel and be fucking awesome. You're going to be so mad.
Oh, I'm so mad already. Okay. Top two matches. Hiromu Takahashi finally gets his challenge for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship held by El Desperado. I'll give you mine first. I'm taking Takahashi. I think he takes the title back.
Hiromu.
Matt also takes Hiromu. Kev, who you got?
I have Hiromu.
Kevin is also.
Yeah.
Kevin is also taking Hiromu. And last but not least, one of the awesome standouts of 2021, Mr. Shingo Takagi defends the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against the man who holds the briefcase, the title, the man who's challenging, Kazuchika Okada. I'll give you my pick first. I'm taking Okada. I'm calling for the win. He needs a win against Takagi. Takagi's got his number, but I think it's Okada's time to get back on the mountaintop.
I have Okada.
Kevin also has Okada. Does Matt make it a sweep?
He says Shingo.
Matt is going Takagi. I like the pick. All right, let me just confirm. Sho versus Yo. Tony and Kevin both take Sho. Matt takes Yo. Tanahasho's team against Bullet Club. Tony takes Tanahasho. Matt and Kevin take Bullet Club. The United Empire versus LIJ. All three take United Empire. Evil versus Ishii. Matt takes Big Tom. Kevin and Tony take Evil. Chaos versus the Dangerous Techers. Matt and Kevin take the Techers. Tony takes Chaos. Takahashi against Desperado. All three take Takahashi. And Okada versus Takagi. Kevin and Tony take Okada. Matt takes Takagi. Shingo. Whew. First time we've done that in a long time. I feel depleted.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Whew. Let me get back to look at your guys' beautiful faces because I'm tired of looking at the chart. And that's that. Hey, Buster. How's it going, Buster?
Say hey, buddy. Yeah.
Buster, you got any plugs for us before we pull this train into the station?
Oh, yes, you can follow me at Buster Hensler on Instagram, which is real.
Oh, also, by the way, my butt also has its own Instagram account. It's butt by
Buster's
Buster.
Butthole.
Butthole by Buster.com. That's
yeah, you can follow me at Kate on Deck IC. You can find me doing the NXT 2.0 post show because I hate myself. Fightful YouTube with Alex Pulowski, where we try real hard to make it fun. Wednesdays on the Mark Order podcast, and Fridays doing AEW Rampage and SmackDown with Sean Ross Sapp, also on Fightful. But my friends, Insomnia is here, and we are going to do a New Japan watch along on the Fightful Twitch. Join us if you're a fucking maniac that is staying up to watch it.
Kev, anything in the hopper ski?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just see that awesome, sexy picture of you wearing your tank top at your Jersey All Pro tryout. I love that picture. I need to get that framed like a 16 by 20 on my wall.
I can't believe that this is the only thing that exists from that day.
You and your Jamie Jams?
Yeah.
Do you know who took that picture?
I think it was either Donnie or Frank Minetti.
Were either of those guys trying out as well, or were they just?
No, they just came to watch.
Wow.
It was either Friends or Frank. I would imagine. No, it was probably Donnie because Donnie took more pictures. This is the only one that surfaced.
That's pretty fucking cool. You got to reach out to Donnie, see if he's got any more pictures from that day, because I'd love to see him.
If he had, it's been freaking.
I know.
This was 2001, I think.
I know. 21 years ago, Kev. We're all getting old. Holy shit, we're getting old. God.
Yeah, man.
John Alba's like 29. How fucking sick is that?
No, here I am. I'm almost 30.
Oh, Kevin, we didn't do your top 5.
Listen, you know what? I'll hoard them. I'll hoard them until we have to use them, and then we'll bang them out. We'll have like a 5-week thing. I won't have to even worry about it anymore because I still have the one from before the New Year's that we have to do.
Well, don't worry. Once I win the pay-per-view picks this year, I'll work a top 5 into the show somehow. It'll be something Tony based.
Tony Day.
I just said I am hoarding. I already have 3 in the hopper.
Well, you might have to make a 4th. What can I tell you?
Oh, I'll make it. I've very narrowed down our super secret project, and I'll send that out to you guys probably tomorrow at work.
Ooh, I like it. I'm intrigued. I forgot this was even a thing. I know.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like it. So anyway, we are the Shining Wizards, shiningwizards.com for all your Shining Wizards needs. Don't forget about our Patreon. Why Can't I Talk Tonight? Patreon.com/Wizards Podcast. Like I said, we've got watch-alongs. We cover shows. We do profiles. Kevin and Matt did a 2-hour, what I'm going to call an omnibus, because I don't know what else to fucking call it. 2 hours on Bret Hart's first year in WCW. It's insane. Please join our Patreon and check that out. It's amazing. We've got over 50 episodes in the archives. We play games. We cover pay-per-views. It's nuts. It's completely worth it. $3 a month. How can you go wrong? Kate knows. Kate's a Patreon supporter.
I get the boxes of wizardry because I'm a smarty pants.
There you go.
Fucking
I think that's everything. Oh yeah, follow us on social media at Wizards Podcast on all platforms. ProWrestlingTees.com/Shining Wizards. Is that sale still going on or is that over? I don't know. Head over there.
Who determined the length? It was either like 5 or 8 days. So I don't think either way would be done.
Okay. Yeah, it's still going on, I think. 22% off at Pro Wrestling Tees.
Oh, there you go.
No, I thought we were talking about our super secret Patreon 10th anniversary shirt sale.
Well, it's not so much a secret anymore if you put it out there on the podcast.
Well, if they join they can't get it unless they're on a Patreon.
No, it's a Discord only. So if you want to join the Discord, go over to our Twitter, click the Discord link. We only have mediums and larges left. So if you want to get in on one of those for dirt cheap, get over there, sign up for our Discord, hit us up, let us know you are interested.
Oh, T-Don, can I give a special shout out real quick?
Of course you can.
To the hottest free agent in the game. If you can't take Rohit, get out the kitchen. Rohit Raju is a free agent, baby. Sign him, book him. He's the man. He's the greatest. He's a body guy. Get out. I'm almost
if
as
you're
jacked
gonna
as me
throw
in that picture.
That pun out, you cannot get mad at the Good Night Gracie. that's inevitably coming down the
It's
train.
been if you can't take Rohit, get out the kitchen has been a staple since he's been on the show over a year ago.
Yeah, no, I know. I listen all the time, Kevin.
Yeah, well, it's great.
So is Goodnight Gracie.
I don't get that though. How is that a pun?
You're a
Who
pun.
said it's a pun?
She
Pun?
said a pun.
It's
No,
like,
like if you're gonna bring that pun late in the game, you cannot get mad at like a.
Well, it was
Goodnight
all
Gracie
part of the
pun.
collective shout out. I was gonna let Tony finish.
All right.
Kate, I want to finish, but I just don't know what to say. What should I say at this point?
I think you should say Goodnight Gracie.